Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for the last game of international rugby of the weekend, and it is a big one. Australia's first game of 2025. They'll be taking on none other than Fiji in what will be a very fast-paced type of fixture. Fiji and Roa, of course, always bring that entertainment to Super Rugby Pacific, and in this lineup, they have partnered that alongside their internationals for Australia. Like I said, this is their first chance to take to the field to prepare for the British and Irish Lions. In fact, this is their only game that they've got in warm-up prep. They have to play well right from the get-go. We'll have to wait and see how they get on. But looking through at this Wallabies starting lineup, it will be James Slipper, Dave Parecki, and Alan Alatoa slotting in at number 3. A couple Brumbies men in there, which does mean that this Brumbies team on Wednesday will consist very differently of what it did throughout Super Rugby Pacific. Nick Frost and Jeremy Williams in the locking duo, and then it is Langy Gleeson at 6, Fraser McWright number 7, and Harry Wilson slotting in as the number 8. Tate McDermott and Noel Alessio, they'll be the 19 combination for this matchup. We'll have to wait and see exactly how that pairing goes here, because that's the thing. Joe Schmidt, his decision has to be pretty much made now, who he's going with, and it seems like McDermott and Noel Alessio might be the way to look at their future starting lineup. Lena Cattell, Joseph Suali'i will be there as the number 13. That is a dangerous midfield combination. Max Jorgensen out on one wing. Harry Potter, I should say, out on the right, and Tom Wright at number 15. In terms of the starting lineup for the Fijians, they have got a stack of talent across the lineup. Ronnie Maui, Tavera Ikanaberi, and Pini Ravai as the number 3. Nasila Silla and Timo Mainavanua in the locking duo with Tangi Valu at 6, Thanakai Vata at 7, and Viliami Mata does return for the Fijians in the number 8 jersey. Simeone Kuravuli at 9 with Caleb Muntz slotting in at the 10, so the Fijian draw combination in that regard. Joshua Tuisova in the number 12 jersey. That man is just an absolute tank and is always going to be dangerous out there on the field for Fiji. Osifu Masi slots in at number 13. And then Jita Waninyolo, Calaviti Revovo, and Salisi Reasi there in the number 15 jersey. We've just seen there that Joseph Suali'i went over and gave a hug and a kiss to a couple people in the crowd. That's a weird entry, to be honest. I don't think we've seen that too often. All the rest of the team were lined up doing the national anthems, but Suali'i was like, hang on, I got something I have to do quickly. Just popped over to the stand and then popped on back. But those are the starting lineups, ladies. Gents contest will be one of the forwards in discipline. Says Ski in morning. I'm up watching the game at 5:15. I'm in Cape Town. Says Mochadin in there too, and loved your feed yesterday. I'm back from the Greek Islands. Go Wales. Says Stephen. And there as well. And some will notice that we look a little bit different compared to yesterday. Of course, we did say that South Africa, if they did not win by 40 or more, because it was our prediction, the mustache would stay and the rest of the face would go. Not too sure how long it's going to be sticking around for. I've got the Charlie Gamble look going on at the moment. Bulla says, Ronnie, and they're welcome in, mate. Hope you are excited for this game. They have mentioned about the record at the stadium not being the best for Australia. They did lose in 2020. Or in fact, sorry, they drew in 2020. And I believe they lost back in 2000. I want to say it was 12 at this exact same location. Did you sleep? I got like 2 hours of sleep if I'm lucky. So the tiredness is still well and truly kicking in. But this game, I'm sure, will wake us straight up, because Australia, this is our only, I guess, tester and our only level that we get to see before the British and Irish Lions matches they have got coming up in the later stages of July. And go Fiji, go, says Ronnie there. But we are just seeing, walking along, handshakes for the Fijian players and soon the Australians as well. And Lions looked rubbish yesterday. Tars were strong and brave. Says Stephen, yeah, the Waratahs really stepped up to the occasion. And I talked about it on that Argentina versus England stream. All of the underdogs across the board actually seem to play better than a lot of people gave them credit for. See there, one of the players, he looks a little bit nervous, and that is one of the young guys in the front, I should say. And be feeling the pressure for the Aussies, that is for sure. Hello, damn solid Amish. Says Mr. Orlando and Tossa Fititoso, says Meme US, and Fiji covers 14.5. Tricky to say, mainly because this is the first time we're seeing either of these sides in action for this yeah, so, you can look at what they did in Super Rugby. You can look at what they did last year. But this is a whole different contest, and it can be a whole different game too. Tosa Viti Toso says, Ronnie, an afternoon, Hamish, mate. How you doing? Here all good, can't complain. Says Birdie V. Yeah, it's been quite the weekend of international rugby, that is for sure. And we get to do it all again next week. I think there's still just as many games, maybe one or two less across the board, but still going to be a very entertaining one as a whole. All the handshakes of the Australian players will now be taking place. Then we'll have the national anthems, ladies and gentlemen, and then we are straight into the action between these two sides. These are the benches, though. For the Australians, they've got Billy Pollard, Angus Bell, and Zainul Gore as the number 18. Tom Hooper at 19 with Carlo Tazzano as the number 20. Tell you what, Western Force could have certainly used that man's turnover ability in that first game up against the Lions. Nick White, who for some reason I feel a little bit more connected to for just today. Ben Donaldson and Filippo Daungunu in that number 23 jersey as well. For the Fijians, they've got Sam Matavesi, Hireti Atit, and also Masaki Donge, Vothi, and Tuisui as the number 20. Basilala at 21, Armstrong Ravula at 22, and then Soreli Mangwala as the number 23. So a lot of pace and power for both of these sides when it comes to their benches, which is fantastic to see. James Slipper, Alalatoa, and Harry Potter. He has had some magical moments. I keep on saying that pun, and I don't mean to, but he is a dangerous man out there on the wing. And you just feel like this is the type of game that he'll really want to step up for and kind of book his spot out on the wing. Should be a good encounter. And also, Fiji's winning this round, says Memes US. And also, okay, I think now is the appropriate time. We talk about Wayne Bahunza 2007, says username, and Bean Epic Brother, says Birdie V. And like I said, the lower ranked sides are the ones who have really stepped up to the occasion. England came in as underdogs up against Argentina, and they had quite the performance indeed. Looks like now the handshakes have been done, which means the national anthems are just about upon us. Do let me know your score predictions for this matchup, ladies and gentlemen. Do you think Fiji will be able to pull off the upset, or will it be Australia for their first match of 2025 who do get themselves the victory? And bring it will bite Australia again. Says Meme 7, Wales rugby not in a good place at the moment. Well, going down to Japan. And I think the one that hurts them the most is the fact that they were ahead by so much. You know, they were in a position of, like, I think it was 19-7 or something like that, or it might have even been 19-5, and then to go on to lose the way that they did, I think is absolutely brutal. But they are just doing the welcome to country. And the under-20 tournament is also on fire. Some massive matches taking place last weekend. We are, of course, going to be covering the ones on Thursday as well on the channel. So anyone who is new, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel as well. We have got there, Fiji, we love you, says Ronnie, and Tuisova will bump them off like the last game, says Meme US. Tuisova is an absolute tank. And partnering with Osefo Masi for this match, a combination that can be extremely lethal when they get the right distribution from the 9-10. That is where Kuravuli and Caleb Muntz become so important for the Fijians in this matchup. What is that mustache? It is because of a forfeit. I said that South Africa should have been able to beat Italy heading into that game by 40 plus, which they did not, so that meant that the beard disappeared. But it is lucky that Italy didn't win, or else the mustache would have been gone too, and we would have been completely clean shaven. Wallabies will have a win, final 20 minutes and final or 20 points to run away with it, says Stephen. Points prediction, I actually don't have one for this game, and it's not just because I want to keep some sort of facial hair at this point, but more so it's too difficult to judge. Like, you could say based off form in Super Rugby, maybe you give the edge to Australia because they've got a few more guys from higher ranked teams, but you know, the returning internationals for the Fijians, and also just that unpredictable nature. It is an afternoon game too, and I feel like that bodes quite well for Fiji. So I think it could be close, but at the same time, we could honestly see one of these sides win it by 15, and I wouldn't even be surprised. Australia's going down, says Colby, and there as well. And Tosso says Aroni, and win, says Aroni there for the Fijians as well. But the national anthem being sung with pride for this Fiji side. Big opportunity in the number 15 jersey for Salisi Reasi on debut for this contest. The national anthem has been sung. If Australia, says Asala. I see this one's being played in good spirits for this test match. Lovely to see. And also says Ronnie and Australia are going to win, says Knife. And there too looks like a decent crowd at Newcastle Stadium on that far side anywhere. Or anyway, am I the only Wallabies fan here? From a couple of those earlier comments we're seeing, I would say it's close to it. So I guess of this Wallabies side, Stephen, who is the player you would say to watch out for? I do think that someone like a Fraser McWright, the jackling ability in the breakdown, as well as, Suaalii does have the X factor in terms of this backline. But Leonard Cattell having a great season for the Brumbies. I would cheer for both. Says Ronnie in there, and I'm here, says Gareth. And there too. But scrums are so intriguing for this one. Penny Ravai, Ronnie Maui on one side in terms of the props. James Slipper Alatoa on the other with a huge amount of experience under their belt for the Aussies. Hey, that man's got the same mustache as me, except he's got some cool glasses to go alongside it. I should have got glasses as well, perhaps. Go Fiji, go, says Jathoro. And also, team will win. Or there could be a draw. If does big Fijians Australia going to win, says Neve. And also, we agree there, Tosa Viti Toso, says Meme US. And Go Team says Ronnie. And let's see some running rugby. And I do think that's the type of game that, of course, both of these sides would love to be able to deliver out there on the field. And now we are just about ready to go. They are just folding up the flags. Nick White, he'll be making his way off the bench in this contest. He can annoy a lot of opposition, but one thing's for sure, he's able to find gaps when needed. And nice pitch, says Gareth there. And also we'll get there, Bulla and run it straight, says Neve. And also we have got nice pitch and unpredictable Fijians. Exactly right. Salisi Reasi at 15. Normally we would see, well, in fact, we would see quite a few different players. Liza Drua-Sisi, who's been a man that was seen in that 15 jersey. Vilimoni Botito, I believe, has even had moments when it did come to those injuries. And he started it, says Meme US, and just show love to each other. Says Ronnie. It's much easier, isn't it? But the Fijians now fired up. Pre-match. They are challenging this Australian side. Of course, in the Rugby World Cup, that was one of the big upsets. Fiji beating Australia for the first time in what was, I believe, 69 years. Now, they're fired up to try and do it again. Fiji is doing the haka right now, although it is not called the haka for the Fijians. And Australia fan Josh Tuisova, his box office, says Gareth. Yeah, if he gets any sort of space and gets the opportunity to just pin the ears back and go, whoever's trying to make that tackle better be ready to feel like you've been hit by a fridge. Lenny Cattell, he has set a few people down throughout Super Rugby Pacific as well, and he looks actually really fired up and focused at the moment. I know how important this game is to build confidence heading into that British and Irish Lions matchup. Tuisova the tank, aka the bus, says Meme US. But the pre-match has all been done. We are now ready to go for this contest. We will soon find out who the ref is for this matchup. But yeah, I think, they're just talking about the players missing from Australia. Of course, Fiji have their fair share of guys that are out of this contest too. Plus Fiji, they will be playing next week up against the Scottish. Whereas for Australia, like I said, this is their only game heading into the British and Irish Lions 3-match test series. I watched for Langy for a big game, says Gareth. Big man Langy Gleeson, that number 6 jersey. That's the thing, they've got a lot of turnover ability and a lot of running ability when it comes to that loose forward trio, having Harry Wilson at 8, Langy Gleeson in the number 6 jersey. Referee in charge of this one will be Pierre Brosset of France, Ben O'Keefe, Angus Maybe, and also Eric Gorzens will be the TMO. Tuisova is one of the best players, and Tuisova run it straight. Says Neve there. Hopefully the TMO will be not as heavily involved as we've seen in a few of the other matches that have taken place all throughout this weekend. Tom Wright, big opportunity at number 15. I believe he will be the starting 15 for Australia when it comes to that British and Irish Lions tour. So maybe Fiji won't play the same tactics as the Lions, but it will give him a great chance to be able to try and run it out from the back. Tuisova is one of the best players, says Meme US. And Tuisova, we love you, says Ronnie. There as well, concentration from Joseph Suali'i. Did have an injury near the end of the Waratah Super Rugby Pacific season that left him out for quite a few weeks. Great weather for rugby, let's go, says Gareth. And there too. But yeah, perfect afternoon. Definitely with the amount of bad weather that has been around for Newcastle in the last couple of weeks. Great to see that this weather is hopefully not going to affect this game. And Australia is a tough team, according to their rugby performance over the past years. All the best, says Colby there. Yeah, this will certainly not be an easy game for either side in this match, but I feel like that's where it gets so intriguing and so exciting, the fact that this could go either way. Australia come in as favourites, but that does not mean by any stretch of the imaginations that it will be easy. Fiji kicking off from right to left. And Caleb Muntz, he will be getting us underway for this matchup. First minutes for these two sides of 2025 in the international jersey. And it's claimed by Langy Gleeson, who already breaks through the tackle attempt of Timo Mainavanua. Tate McDermott already asking for Nick Frost to join into that breakdown, getting ready for the box kick from the Wallabies. Sending it high and chasing after. This one with a lot of pace was Max Jorgensen, but has knocked it on in the process of trying to gather. And Fiji will now have the option of either a scrum or a line out. Only 30 seconds in already, we have seen the drop ball. Eliza Sekin show on the live. Sadly, due to licensing, any match footage or audio gets you taken straight down off YouTube. So we are unable to show match footage, sadly, but we will be doing the play-by-play all throughout this matchup. It is available on Stan Sport in Australia, Sky Sport here in New Zealand. And also we have got there, Need That Wallabies. They pulled up at Twickenham last year, says Mr. All-In. Pack weight's 930 kgs for Fiji compared to Australia's pack of 886 kgs for this fixture. Ball going to be fed in. Now Simeone Kuravuli. Ball's there. They're being told to use it, and a penalty going the way of Fiji. So that is an early confidence booster for Ronnie Maui as well as Penny Ravai, who've got themselves their first pen of the day. I need that Wallabies. I know I read that one. And also, what did you think about England's performance against Argentina yesterday? I thought their defence in the first half was outstanding, holding up Los Pumas 3 times over the try line. And then the second half, they kind of reaped the rewards of the pressure that they did create early on. And yeah, massive win. And in terms of that Rugby World Rankings calculator, it's looking decent for the English to make it towards that top 4 by the end of the year. Line out stolen from the Australians. Now Noel Alessio kicks it down the middle of the field, looking for a 50-22. Bounces steeply side of the Fijian 22-metre line. Salisi Reasi of his left boot, not known for his kicking game for the Hurricanes, but that is a decent clearing kick from Reasi there. I've just mentioned about he was in the under-20 Samoan team. He then had time playing in New Zealand and now finds himself in the Fijian international kit. So he's had quite the journey so far, Salisi Reasi, but is a very dangerous player. It'll be intriguing to see how he fits in with this Fijian side. And also now, Tosamai Tuisova says Meme US. It won't be too long till we get to see him get the ball in hand, rush defence from Asoa Nasilasila, makes the tackle on Fraser McWright. Now McDermott back across to Langy Gleeson, Noel Alessio, going one more quick hands. Joseph Suali'i throws a bit of a no-look pass, but it bounces up for Max Jorgensen. 15 metres out from the line now for the Australians. McDermott goes across to Alan Araratoa, tackled by Timo Mainavanua. Now cross kick. Lolesio looking for Harry Potter, who can't quite regather it. And it sits up now for Fiji. Oh, Sefu Masi with a lot of open space, running into it, trying to bust through the Wallabies defence on the halfway line. Ball comes out the side. I'm not sure how legal it was, but Australia have now got themselves the possession. Langy Gleeson goes across to Jeremy Williams with a flat pass. Jorgensen with the chip in behind. There is cover back there for Fiji, but an awkward bouncing ball means that Ravovo has to wait that little bit longer before he does grab a counter ruck from Jeremy Williams. Illegal in there. In fact, no, they call it a knock on first from Australia. So it will now be Fiji scrum. Australia just stole the ball. What the hell? Says Meme US. I'm ahead with the broadcast. I'm not far from the game. I won't ruin it. Says Gareth. Do appreciate that. And yeah, it is definitely a fast start between these two teams. And Tuisova, have fun for Fiji, says Knife, and also we'll get there Bulla Hamish, says Mr. Billy. And yeah, the big run down the wing after the counter attack, or after the cross kick, I should say, from Noah Lalicio. Didn't quite go to hand. And it shows how dangerous Fiji can be. The fact that they made about 30 metres from one run after the mistake from Australia. So I let you run it straight at Tuisova, says Knife. Although I don't think we'll see Tuisova, I don't think we'll see Suali'i running as hard as physically possible, just because coming off a head knock, sometimes players are a bit tentative that they could get perhaps knocked out again. So, it was a really ugly knockout for him as well in Super Rugby. They showed how casual he was, though, heading out onto the field. When the two sides were lining up ready to have the handshakes and national anthems, Suali'i actually left to go talk to a couple people in the stands and give them a hug, and then went back to the lineup and time for said handshake. We're going to be fed in now by Simeone Kuravuli. I thought you only commentate New Zealand games, says the What's Up podcast. This is about our 5th or 6th live stream of the weekend. We have covered England versus Argentina that took place this morning. We covered South Africa versus Italy. We covered the British and Irish Lions taking on the Waratahs. We did cover New Zealand-France on the channel too, though, but we cover much more than just the New Zealand stuff. Tom Wright now on the halfway line, wrestled down by Osefo Marci. 5.5 minutes in to this contest already. Jeremy Williams, crashing run forward. Oh, that looked like a huge shot on Dave Parecki, definitely around the chest. I'm sure the TMO was probably checking that one as we think. Lalicio going across the Suali'i into a breakdown and trying to get the steal. Fiji have done so. They isolated Suali'i, but McWright takes it straight back for Australia. Now Alalatoa on the halfway line. Harry Potter. I did commentate All Blacks France game yesterday. We certainly did. Yes, the first of the 5. Now McDermott to the left-hand side. Lalicio, numbers on the outside here for Australia if they can get it out wide. Where Len Ikitau waiting for the ball, but Max Jorgensen cuts back on the inside, gets the ball to Potter. McDermott, Wilson, now 2-man deck on him. Tried to offload to Alalatoa, but he just put it down in the process. Australia really trying to play fast rugby here, keeping the ball alive and trying to avoid those breakdowns. Are you rooting for Hamish? I just hope it's a good game, and so far we have had 4 errors across 6.5 minutes, but one thing that can't be denied is how fast-paced they have started in this match. As Reese up for today's match, says Colby. We talking Sevu Reese, I assume that is Kelby. And also up so early yawn, says I am nutty. And also go Fiji go, says Anorsi. And there too, of course, Fiji in action up against Scotland next week. We are going to be covering that one on the channel too. So anyone who is new, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. You're going to commentate the double header game next week, says the What's Up Guys podcast. We are covering All Blacks versus France. I don't think we'll be doing the New Zealand-Australia game beforehand, if that is the one that you are talking about as the other half of the header. Now, free kick goes the way of Australia now. It was going to be a free kick or a scrum feed for the Fijians. Tap and go from Tate McDermott, 5 metres out from the try line. Now pick and go from Len Ikitau. Gets a little bit closer. Lengy Gleeson somehow held up by Fiji, but they already had the penalty advantage. So they will go back now for Australia. And another penalty in their favour. Now 5 metres out from the line. I don't think they'll be going for the 3. I think this is straight towards the corner if you are Australia, as Fiji Tier 1 nation now. So here's Mr. Billy. They are currently sitting, I believe it's 10th in the overall standings, or it might even be 9th. They are climbing nicely. And if they win this game, it would actually put them that little bit closer to a top 8 position at the time of the Rugby World Cup draw. Whereas this game on Rugby Pass TV is not available in the USA, right? Or it might be, Mo, if it's not a game that's being shown on like Flow Rugby or anything like that. I believe Rugby Pass sometimes has games geographically. Oh, great rolling maul from the Australians, and they will score the first try of this contest. Dave Parecki, the man at the back. And that looked dominant. That's it. It's Tuisova's turn. So here's Meme US. But yeah, sometimes Rugby Pass TV, depending on who the broadcasters are, sometimes have different geographical options. I guess you could say. I can tell that France, I'll be like, come on, we can do better. So here's the What's Up Guys podcast. Although, honestly, those young French players did extremely well throughout that game, and I do think that the element of surprise is now slightly gone for them. New Zealand will know that they're going to be in for a fight in that second match, but that is a great try coming for Dave Parecki. He scored quite a few of them throughout Super Rugby Pacific in that exact same fashion of moving forward with a maul. Now Nolalicio, opportunity here to line up the points. He's had 44 attempts, 33 successful with 72.7% accuracy. That one has gone over now though, and that will make the score 7-0. It's definitely not on flow. The USA versus Belgium game wasn't even on for this country. That's really bad, isn't it? Did the USA win in the end? I'll actually have a quick look. See how they went on. That is one game over the weekend that I don't know the score of. Plus that Argentina XV game. Oh no, they did all right up against Brazil, I do see. And USA didn't look too bad by the looks of it either. That's going to be slapped back into the field of play by Fiji. Close to the sideline. I think Nick Frost's head's just gone out. Thought about taking it quickly for Calaveti Ravovo, but told just to avoid that one. Oh, wow, Australia scored. They certainly did. Dave Parecki on the rolling maul. The first try of the fixture. Come on, let's go, Antoine Dupont. There's Neven again. The line out stolen by Australia. That is now 2 in a row that they've been able to take off the Fijians. Now to Suali'i trying to step. He is lined up by Viliami Mata, who knocks the ball out of his hand. Tui Soba gets his first touch, but drops it too. So we will now go back for the Fijian scrum. England better than the Lions confirmed. Says greet the sacred cow. England looked good in their game up against up against Argentina. Their defence in that first half was probably some of the best defence we've seen from England in recent times. It also didn't help though that Argentina were dropping the ball every 5 seconds and couldn't make the most of a 2-man advantage. It's very bad. Even the Black Ferns versus Black Ferns XV was on last night at 8:30 p.m. on Flow. So here's Mo. But now, this is where Fiji have to make the most of this chance. They haven't had a lot of time inside of Australia's half throughout this match as of yet. They get a couple big runs here. They could be inside of Australia's 22. Now Kuravuli does feed that ball, and penalty goes the way of Australia. Scrum on, I believe it was the tight head side for the Fijians going against Penny Ravai. Seems to be a bit of an issue at the moment for the Fijians. The set piece in this matchup. Nolalicio ready to kick this one towards the sideline, and Fiji will get them back, says Meme US. Oh, doesn't find touch. There, Nolalicio, the Argentinian England game on Flow was this afternoon was using South African commentators. That was the same for us here in New Zealand, although I think some people had English commentators depending on where you were in the world. Don't you just hate penalties? Says lots of guys. It can break the flow of the game a little bit, but both sides, of course, have to try and avoid those disciplinary issues. Nolalicio again firing a kickback. Playing a little bit of force back at the moment with the Fijians. Salisi Reasi set up as if he was going to kick him back. This time it is going to be now Gita Wainanyolo, who has popped the ball up, but it's gone forward. So we go back for, yet again, another scrum. We've had a lot of scrums all throughout this weekend. Get your bets 21 plus, says Gareth. Do you think the Black Ferns, who were dropped and played for the XV, feel hard done by? Or is it an opportunity to get up? I think it's a little bit of a... You'd rather be in some sort of team playing rugby than not playing any rugby at this point in time. Like, yes, it's unfortunate for those ones who have missed out, but injuries happen, and there is still a chance that you could find the promotion into the main squad heading into, of course, that all-important Women's Rugby World Cup. Why won't you commentate the Black Ferns next week? So here's the What's Up Guys podcast. It's because more than likely we'll be doing 4 or 5 matches back-to-back, doing an all-nighter. So... You know, it's a little bit similar to why we didn't do the Māori All Blacks game up against Scotland, even though that turned out to be a really close and entertaining game. It's just more so with what time we actually will get to sleep. As much as I'd like to do 24 hours of commentary straight, it doesn't quite work that way. The South African commentators on the England game were terrible. They were constructing sentences that didn't make any sense. It was absurd. Says Powerboy, that sounds a little bit like watching a Kiwi Lad stream at times, definitely on the late night ones, but... Yeah, it was interesting that they had the South African duo. I don't know whether or not that was something to do with the broadcasters. Maybe SuperSport were one of the only broadcast teams that did fly over for that game. Ground conditions, who's reffing? It is Pierre Brosset, the referee in charge of this game. French referee. And then ground conditions look all right. A little bit heavy underfoot due to all the rain that we've seen in Newcastle over the last couple of weeks. I hate this. However, go now the number one team in the world now. So here's the what's up, guys. That's going to be another free kick going the way of Australia. Now around the halfway line, Max Jorgensen slapped back by Viliami Mata. Langy Gleeson bumping off Asaina Silla. A lot of these guys have been playing against each other all throughout the year in Super Rugby Pacific. Jorgensen now passes on. Tom Wright goes for the kick behind Harry Potter. Chasing after it, but it just curves into touch. Miss Rayasi on the Canes. Says freshman. They've been number one for nearly 2 years, says Greet the Sacred Cow. Australia look good on the scrums and the line-out, says Gareth. Yeah, their set piece at the moment is done very nicely. And in an Argentina game, there was an ESPN logo on the pitch. Last time I checked, ESPN is a USA company in Bristol, Connecticut. Although ESPN Deportes is a thing, definitely when it comes to UFC. So I think that there's actually quite a big Spanish ESPN following. So that might be where that's come from. Oh, charge down kick. A knock on from Fiji. Just 5 or 10 metres out from the line. Now it is going to be another opportunity for the Wallabies to be able to strike in their set piece. Australia to steal the test off the box this year. Got a hunch. Says Bower Bite. And also Tosaviti. Says Meme US. But I think it was Alan Alatoa. It looks like James Slipper might actually have a bit of an issue with his face. It was actually Nick Frost, my apologies. He did get there for the charge down, and then Fiji just unable to hang on to the ball. Harry Potter has been playing for ages. Cracks me up every time I hear his name. Says Greet the Sacred Cow and let's go, says Gareth. Yeah, a lot of physicality. It was actually potentially also the shoulder of James Slipper that ended up hurting. The last thing that they will want to do is lose that man heading into the British and Irish Lions. 3 test matches that are coming up in only a few weeks' time. Do you play Rugby Challenge 3? Not a lot. I play Rugby Challenge 4 more than 3, but I haven't played Rugby Challenge 4 for quite some time. I also haven't played Rugby 25 for a while. I feel like that game, it's so much potential, and then the updates, we just need a few more of them try. Says Gareth there. And also, Supersport isn't a professional outfit. And the post-game today, their hosts were on camera with Mike saying, Mike, check. It actually happens in the URC quite a bit as well. You get to hear what the commentators are saying at halftime, like before they're even saying it. And also you sometimes get their warm-up run. The Harry Wilson off to Tate McDermott, pops it in behind Lalesio. Tom Wright, quick hands on the outside. And Harry Potter does score the try for Australia, or does he? It's a forward pass, no try. And we have got there John Olomu Rugby as the GOAT. And also, we have got the Australian these people should have given up in 2023. To be fair, a pretty rough World Cup campaign. The last pass from Tom Wright drifts forward. And SVG won Chicago Street Race and NASCAR again this morning. And we got 2 New Zealand rowers in the Royal Henley finals tonight. Watch this so you don't have to. Said Lamatasi. Oh, James Slipper actually leaving the field here. That will bring on Angus Bell, but it will also bring on a few concerns for Australia heading towards that British and Irish Lions match. I'm wondering whether or not that is an HIA with the way that the medic is kind of keeping an eye on him. They are going to be taking him down the tunnel. He could still return. And this matchup looks like a decent crowd in the stands for this match. Australia 45 points to 32 is the end score prediction from Waitamati. Just showing all the people in my stands. My sister's actually at this game, but I doubt I'd even be able to spot her if they showed the camera on her. Currently 16 minutes through this contest. At the moment, 7-0 for the Australians. Looks like Penny Ravai is also going to make his way from the field for an HIA. So 2 men who are actually... Oh, no, there he is. Never mind. I thought he was going off the field, but he was just walking over to the scrum, getting a bit of attention beforehand. Now 16 minutes in, Australia have been winning a lot of scrums, as well as lineouts against the feed. Kuravuli had to feed the ball and only 5 metres out from their line, Fiji. Cannot afford to make a mistake here. Simeone Kuravuli playing for the Fijian Rua throughout this season. Big push from Australia, but the ball comes out the back for Viliami Mati. Now Tuisova looks at Len Ikitau, puts in the big shot, but to Ikitau's credit, he took him down and only 1 or 2 extra meters. A little bit of pressure on Salisi Reasi as he gets the clearing kick away. What do TV packages use? Geolocation, or why do TV packages use geolocation requirement? Money is money. It is, but sadly, due to, like, some companies do buy exclusive broadcasting rights, and that means that no one else is allowed to even think about broadcasting it. So for like New Zealand, Sky have a lot of exclusive rights. For Australia, Stan Sport have the same. But yeah, like, if you have a VPN, you can get around it a little bit in terms of whereabouts in the world you want to be able to watch the games. Joshua Tuisova now in open space. Len Ikitau stops him again, has to tie up the legs to stop him from advancing. Now Tangi Valu. And in the tackle by Fraser McRide up to the halfway line now for Fiji. Muntz goes across to Ravai, who has to slap it back. Knock on from Mussy, though. Just too many early handling errors coming here from the Fijians. I want them to win an oval race. That'll be huge. Says Greet the Sacred Cow, and I heard Geordie Barrett will be back in the Hurricanes next year. He will be indeed, returning from a sabbatical to Leinster. But someone else going to a Leinster sabbatical is Rico Ioane. He'll find himself in Ireland throughout next year. The question is, will he find himself as an outside centre, or will he find himself as a winger? When I was 8, I used to go sit at Jonah's workplace and watch him connect sounds every day. There's Mr. Allin. And also, my question is why I can't just get Stan here. Have you got a VPN, Mo? Because if you've got a VPN, you should theoretically be able to get Stan Sport. As for quite some time, I actually had a Stan Sport subscription. I forgot about it and got charged for I think it was 10 months in a row that I didn't realize that I was still signed up for it. So that was a pretty brutal time, definitely, because Stan Sport, a little bit pricey. A little bit of a bit of a scrum wheeling going on there. So next year will be the Hurricane Super Rugby Grand Final win. Says What's Up Guys podcast, and Tuisova is in his prime right now. Says me. And I think it's a little bit of a shame that he hasn't got a few of those other guys with him in this lineup, such as a Naitha Levu or a Randradra, Vinaya Habosi. You've got a lot of guys that, had they been available for these matches and able to perform, a very dangerous Fijian squad. And I do think for that Pacific Nations Cup, they're going to be looking pretty strong. I really hope we see the young Fijian flyer. It's quite the name there, Tony. To be honest, you had me in the first half. I thought it was actually a real fella, and then I saw the way it ended. But Tony, I know that you are a rugby lover. Early on in the weekend, the TMOs and whatnot were getting on the nerves. Do you think that this weekend has been saved by a couple stronger performances from underdog teams? Or do you think it's still, a bit of a brutal one overall in terms of the flow of the game? Because there have been a lot of stoppages throughout the matches that we've covered. Some for multiple minutes in a row, checking things. The match official, but Fiji now in possession, 45 metres out from the Australian line. Langy Gleeson rushing up with his defence and managing to make the tackle there on Ilia Thanakaivata. They beat a lot of defenders throughout Super Rugby Pacific. Now, Tuisui, of course, going to be making his way off the bench for the Fijians. They've got some great players who will be gracing us in the second half. Now, Kuravuli kicks it up high again. Oh, that was a bit of shoulder on shoulder from Harry Potter. Sits down. Jeta Wanyanyolo, who never got a hand to the ball, now close to his own in-goal area. Salisi Reasi has a bit of a stumble, gets it across to Caleb Muntz, who will run it back to the 22. Does manage to find touch. Oh, Potter thought about the quick throw, but won't do it. No, I don't want to pay for two things. I'm already paying $25 a month for Flow, $7 for Peacock TV 2. Says Mo. And yeah, the fact that they didn't have the USA game on either of those two is pretty brutal, isn't it? Definitely with the fact that the USA have potential of hosting a Rugby World Cup. I think they're supposed to be hosting 2031, aren't they? So surely the more people watching USA Rugby, the better. At that point in time. Now pass on the outside. Chance for Max Jorgensen. Will kick it in behind. Sets up with Caleb Muntz. Pressure on him by Jorgensen, who gets thrown off. McWright trying to get that still on the breakdown. I'm just having some KFC while I'm cheering Fiji to get their try. Says Meme. And it would be cool if Geordie 12, Proctor 13 at the Canes, just like the Nonu Smith days where the Canes had the best midfield combo. The penalty will go the way of Australia now in the breakdown too. Managing to get themselves the steal. They are saying just not going to the breakdown, instead going for the kicks in behind Australia, keeping the ball alive. It seems like they don't want Fiji to have those opportunities to steal. Watching rugby this weekend has been like trying to get freaky, but the girl you're with keeps taking phone calls from her mum. Real boner killer, says Tony. It's an interesting analogy, but in a way I get what you mean. It's been pretty stop-start all throughout this weekend is another way of potentially wording it. Probably much less fun though. Now, that one is going to be not straight from Australia. That was one of their first mistakes in the set piece. Only 22 minutes in and still 7-0 for Australia over Fiji, who have just struggled to get out of their own half throughout the last little while. Yeah, we all have to wait and see whether or not there is a chance of a potential Fijian try before the end of this first half. Well, we'll go like this, and we will go like that as well. There we go. I've been told to use it Fiji. If people can't see the games here, it'll hurt them. I assume that is from Mo. And time to decide or to bring the Sullivan bros into the ABs, says Ricardo. I mean, Balin Sullivan was in my mum's All Black squad that she picked for July. Azan Sullivan, I think because of when his injury happened, he's only been back for, I think it's about 5 weeks now. I think that might have been one of the reasons, as well as the fact that they're looking at Ruben Love for that versatility of 15 and 10. But if there are more injuries for the All Blacks, like it seems like there will be, seems to be losing a player each week at the moment, that squad. So perhaps there is the opportunity for a call-up. How's it, bro? Game 3 for me with you. Says Andrew, and it is greatly appreciated you being here. But so getting back up to his feet, Tom Wright. That looked like he was either stumbling because of the grass or stumbling because of a head knock there. Going off to the left, Leonard Cattell. Little chip in behind, attempted once again. Muntz is back there, ready to cover. Kicks it downfield, looking for the 50-22 as he got it over the head of Noah Lalicio. Now 10 metres out from the Wallabies line with the kick. Does put it into touch. Good territory gain there for the Fijians. That's why rugby will remain a niche sport here. You can get state secrets via WikiLeaks. Easier than rugby, says Mo. Watching rugby this weekend is like finding out the girl you hooked up with has a bigger toaster than you, says Lamatasi. And Tossa 50 Tossa says 4-4-4 Hunters. I have a feeling it's going to be 7-0 at half time. Fiji now got themselves their own line out. Does NZR Plus app not stream this? I just bought a season pass. It's nowhere to watch, says Harry Potted. I'm not sure which games NZR Plus. I think actually NZR Plus have certain games if you're in certain locations. So whereabouts are you, Harry, in terms of your country that you're trying to watch from? Because I think there's about 40 countries that NZR Plus show games for. But it is mainly the Rugby Championship and the All Blacks France, as well as maybe South Africa, Italy. I'm not sure about this match, though, unfortunately. And Irish Wallabies last year leaked a lot of tries. If they can hold off Fiji, would be a win for their defence. South African All Blacks surprisingly had a few against them in the first game. Jitters, says Laurie. Now kicked into touch by Australia. And I'm in Denmark. Sorry about the dumb name. It's an old account of Oliver. It's all good. We've seen some interesting names on the channel. So Denmark was one of those locations, weren't it, that it was actually available. So maybe it's just the All Blacks matches and also the Rugby Championship games of Australia that are available there, which is a shame. And I feel like it's a bit of a deceptive one, seeing as Australia, of course, like if you get in the Rugby Championship, you'd think you'd be getting their games leading into it as well. Now McDermott, off to the right-hand side, skip pass. Could be on the cards here for Tom Wright, but instead gets hit hard by Ilya Thunakaivata McDermott. Now goes to Angus Bell. We haven't seen James Slipper return out to the field as of yet. Now Lolesio goes to Harry Wilson, almost through. Big shot on him by Tangi Valu. McDermott, pressure on him by Caleb Muntz as well. Fiji trying to get that steal in the breakdown, unsuccessful as McDermott, or in fact this time it was McWright. He manages to secure it. Australia revenge game, says Phillip. 20 metres out from the line. Harry Potter going out to Alatoa, tackled low by Davide Ikanaveri. Will tackle all day if he has to. Dave Parecki, the lone try scorer. At this stage of the match, the Wizard will score and set it up one. Says Gareth, well, he had the disallowed try earlier on for Harry Potter. Off the wide cut-out pass of Tom Wright, just a little bit forward was the ruling. We'll go back for the penalty, though. That is going to be against 6 for the Wallabies, so that is Langy Gleeson. And it looks like Langy might be down with a bit of an injury here at this current point in time. His left knee looking like it's playing up. I want to know the channel. So the channel is Sky Sport 3 here in New Zealand, Stan Sport in Australia. Maybe DSTV if you're in... Oh, no, I don't actually know if DSTV are showing this one, unfortunately. And also shout out to my sister, please, bro, sadly. Or Sally, sorry, and family. And Georgie as well, on his 82nd birthday. So yeah, it's Andrew, so hopefully he is enjoying the birthday so far. Another injury down. This looks like Dave Parecki. He was actually also quite slow to get up next to Langy Gleeson. That's where your mustache has grown in the last 20 minutes. Says Zai there. And why is there a guy called Harry Potter? Probably that's why the movie named the character after him. Says the What's Up Guys podcast. He's ill. The clip that always comes to mind for Harry Potter is when, I think it was in the top 14 he was playing. In fact, no, it might have been when he was playing in the Premiership in like a Champions Cup game or something along those lines. And you know how some of those French fields are, I believe there's one in particular has like a ditch around it. He ended up jumping over and disappearing. And I feel like since then he has definitely lived up to his name. Parecki's off for an HIA here. That is now 2 out of the 3 front rowers for the Australians who have had to go off. So Billy Pollard makes his way on. Not seeing any signs of James Slipper as of yet either. And after seeing this first 20 minutes, the Lions series might be a draw. Wallabies are looking like below first game stay, and Fiji won't win this game. So there's optimists there. And now the penalty does go the way of Fiji. Time Langy Gleeson not rolling away. A second penalty in quick succession against Langy Gleeson. Did you commentate the World Cup 2015? We did not know. We have only covered the 2023 Rugby World Cup on the channel, and we covered every single game, no matter the time of the day or night that those ones were taking place. What's with the Mopal? Are you finally making the shift into porno? No, not quite. So pretty much South Africa versus Italy. I said that my prediction was South Africa by 40. And I said if Italy lost by less than 40, I'd leave the Mo. And then if they had won that game, the Mo was going as well. So, yeah, I certainly look a bit different at the moment. I think it will only be for this week. I don't think the Mo's going to be catching on at any point in time soon. The 2023 World Cup sucked, says the What's Up Guys podcast. I enjoyed it. All those random games. And Fiji will win against Australia. So here's Mean US. And the 2000... Oh, no, I read that one, didn't I? And Fiji will win just like 2023. Yeah, for the first time in 69 years for the Fijians. That one was. The Mo was cool. So here's Phillip. And I all in Amish says Robert V in there too. 29 minutes in. 7-0 at the moment for the Wallabies. Just the one try coming for Dave Parecki, who has made his way off with the head knock. Will be the scrum feed 20 metres out from their own line here, Australia. And the All Blacks was this close to winning. So here's the What's Up Guys podcast. Now McDermott puts it in. We have got there, speaking of Bonatown, it's a great look. You'll be knee-deep in clunge, says Tony. Well, we will see, I think is the best way of saying that. But Tony, I also needed to ask you, how close are you to that 100th episode? I've realised that I completely forgot about it for about a month, and now you guys are probably already there, if not maybe like 1 or 2 weeks away. So we might have to try and organise something for a little bit later on in the year, perhaps. That's Wheeling. You need gum boots, says Tony. Now scrum feed again for McDermott. We have almost crossed the 30-minute mark in this match. As he gets ready to feed it in, the new front row, almost completely. New front row for Australia. It is going away to the side again. The ball is there, says Pierre Brousset. And Oz and Moustache is cool. Amish Diet Blonde. Give it Alex Wiley. Says Laurie. Now back into the pocket. Noah Lalicio kicking downfield. Sun is coming out nicely at Newcastle Stadium. Or it's actually called McDonald Jones Stadium, or at least it was. I think it's now called Newcastle Recreational Stadium of some sort. That of some sort, of course, is not on the end of the name. Now, back across Muntz finds Viliami Mata. Koravuli. Muntz. Now, shifting it on to Isova. A bit of space. Once again, Leonard Cattell handles him. He's actually done very well at this point in time, Cattell. He's made all of the tackles and a drop ball from Tavera Ikanaveri. Are you going to commentate the All Blacks versus South Africa game in a couple of months? We certainly will be. We had it about a fortnight ago, champ. A little late to the party, my dude, says Tony. It came around quick, didn't it? I guess the last time that we talked about it was probably mid-Super Rugby, wasn't it? Yeah, I've been falling behind on my YouTube watching. Great day for rugby, no wind, says Gareth. And Fiji boys playing like it's Sunday afternoon, heavy lunch. Says Viliami, and sorry, I'm going to hit your broadcast, says Gareth there. Now 9 minutes remaining of this first half, and it is another scrum for the Australians. We have good there when the bro mentioned Grizz's name. I got to chill, RIP old man, says Lamatasi. And only one try so far, frustrating, or Fiji frustrating the Wallabies, let alone themselves. I think it's frustrating Australia. It sounds weird to say, but it's probably frustrating them how much Fiji have dropped the ball so far, because most of the time when they drop it, they just grab it and then we got a scrum. Whereas normally Australia quite like that counter-attack from a handling era, whereas they haven't really been able to use it throughout this first 32 minutes. Bloody Fiji hands, says yeah, quite a few handling errors coming so far. But they're still in this game. Only down by the 7. Fiji playing too flat, says King. Showing a few more people in the stands. Watching on for this one, and how long until halftime? Another 8 minutes. And Peacock TV shows Premiership, Six Nations and Autumn Nation Series. No, they're showing blocked riding bicycles in the Tour de France. Says Mo. I still remember there was a game ages ago that we were going to be covering. I think it was of the URC. And instead, that was an ugly shot on there. And Cattell wasn't even on purpose, just the body going through. But yeah, they showed tennis all throughout the match, but kicked him behind now. Cleaned up at the back for Gita Wainaniolo. Backing himself to go around Suali'i, who makes the low tackle, shoveled on there. Tui Sova goes to the kicking option, which he doesn't do too often at all. And missed front row changes for the Wallabies. Update, please. So James Slipper went off with a head knock, as well as maybe a potential bit of a shoulder injury. So he was replaced and hasn't come back out onto the field as of yet. Dave Parecki also going off for the HIA. He's the lone try scorer in this contest, so that brought on Billy Pollard. He too hasn't returned as of yet. Speaking of one of them, James Slipper actually just made his way back on. So here's return from his head knock. Can't say the same at this point about Parecki though. I'm loving this, a little stop-start, but Arvo Rugby is the best. So here's Gareth now moving into the 22 for the Wallabies. Harry Wilson. Tackled by Asoa Nasilasila. Big shot on Williams. Being told to release him. For Tuisova now skip past Alicio. Interception coming for Salisi. Reasi offloads it back to Osifu Masi, who runs over the top of Noah Lalicio. Kuravuli and Fiji put together more than 5 phases here without a handling error. Tuisova. Straight at James Slipper. As a Kiwi, I love seeing Fiji put on massive shots. These guys are wrecking balls. Kick downfield, so they're not going to get those 5 phases. Instead, giving the possession straight back to the Australians. Tom Wright looking for the 50-22. He's got the long boot to do it. Looking into the sun. Well gathered by Kalaviti Ravovo. To the short side. Trying to force him towards the sideline was Joseph Suali'i. Did you hear about Stu Wilson? You probably don't know him. Is he the fellow who passed away was it a couple weeks ago, or was it a little bit more recent than that? A bit shaky from Oz, much like the ABs. First game jitters. Says Colin there on the halfway line now. Fiji with 5 minutes to work in this first half. Timo Maina Vanua, says Pat 7. And back across to the right. Caleb Muntz puts it in behind to Davida Ikanaviri, gets through Langy Gleeson's carry, or his tackle attempt, now passed on the outside. Kalaveti Ravovo, best chance for Fiji off the half, held his line there, Tom Wright, and it goes out in the in-goal area. So if this is not a penalty against Tom Wright, it will be going back for the scrum about 40 metres out. Maybe a little bit closer. The yawn almost sneaking in there. In fact, it kind of did. Kalaveti Ravovo. See, I feel that should be a penalty because they always say that the player is allowed to hold his line. But it looked like Tom Wright made no attempt to pull out of it, even though he had time to. So they're saying he didn't change his line, but at the same time, he did just literally, like, he went, I'm going to be in the way here. I've got time to move, but I'll just turn and kind of have my shoulder ready just in case he hits me, which the Fijian player did because he had all the momentum going forward. But I think Tom Wright could have moved there, but chose not to. I must say the ref has been good. So here's Gareth, and Fiji are have so much natural talent, but struggle to execute on the field, so frustrated to see. Here's Zai there. Now 4 minutes remaining. And this first half, scrum feed for the Australians yet again. A ref isn't good when the All Blacks and Hurricanes are playing. Here's the What's Up Guys podcast. Now McDermott. We'll put this ball in. Now, looking for that scrum dominance. Didn't quite get it at that scrum though. Little pop pass up from Ikitau to Suali'i. And 1 year the ref been good. And he's short, says Lamatasi. Now running down the wing. Harry Potter kicks it in behind. Chasing after this will be Tom Wright. Awkward bounce. Sits up though for Kalaveti Ravovo, who will try and go down the short side. Wrestled out by Jorgensen. Just still in the field of play. Now Tangi Valu builds up some speed to go at Alan Alaratoa. And okay, you know the ref. So here's Gareth Dan. Hello from America. Says Max, welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. What is the time in the US at the moment, Max? I think it would be either a late night one or it's either 10 a.m. or 10 p.m., isn't it? Somewhere around there, perhaps. Now Caleb Muntz looping around play for Fiji, and it's another drop ball, this time from Osefo Masi. Advantage will be over. Australia kicking it dead, or at least it might be having to force it down as that ball was not quite going to roll out. It's 10 p.m. That was a good guess, wasn't it? And 12:13 a.m. says Philip. So I guess it does also depend on where you are in the US, wouldn't it? In terms of the time zones. And holy man, says you've got like 222 people watching the stream now. Says the What's Up Guys podcast. Yeah, anyone who is new, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Jita one and Yolo looking safe chasing after that one. And from the looks of how he ran after it, he always knew that one was going to stay in Boston, Massachusetts for Philip. And I'm in Colorado. Says Max. See, my USA geography is pretty rough. I assume if you're on two different time zones, those are probably quite far apart from each other, maybe. And podcast, I'm waiting for the outrage. Says Lamatasi. Now McDermott going off across to the left-hand side. Now chance for Ikitau. One more Suali'i. Fraser McRoy will score the try. And eventually, the Australians have been able to get their second. It's been tough to get through. Fiji have made it difficult. We look horrible, not going to lie. Says Xavier, yeah, fair share of mistakes from both teams. Australia, though, their dominance at set piece, I think, has made it so that they haven't been out of this contest, because a more clinical side up against them perhaps would have punished them for some of the errors that they made last few minutes, big moments. Yes, says Stephen Farr out Fiji. And also we have got their 12-13 here in New Jersey. But the finish from Fraser McWright. And deserved for McWright, having a blinder in those breakdowns with Gleeson. He's Mr. All-In. And yes, so Ali'i, he will have the try assist while the Wallabies at 9:15 p.m. in San Francisco. There are a lot of time zones in the USA, aren't there? And now Noel Alicio does just bring that one round, making the score now 14-0 for Australia. 35 seconds remaining of this first half. So if you were Oz, you'd probably look at kicking this one into touch if Fiji do go deep. We didn't see a slow motion replay of that try, though, from Fraser McRae. I know that was a common thing that we saw throughout other matches of the weekend. I guess 12-0 at halftime. Well, it's currently 14-0. It is just not quite updated as of yet, but 10 seconds remaining of the first half. Fiji kick it off high, looking to retain that ball, and it is taken by Jeremy Williams. The only problem with doing that, of course, is now you've given Australia an attacking opportunity at the end of this half if they want it. And man, some low-scoring games. Says Lamatasi, looks like McDermott will go off to the short side. Langy Gleeson. Are they going to kick this one out, Australia, or are they going to continue attacking? They'll go short side now. McDermott makes a couple extra meters. Harry Wilson. Now, going to Nick Frost. See, that is the thing. If Fiji had gone deep, more than likely we would have actually seen all little chipping behind from Nola Alessio. That is a really interesting tactic, as now Fiji have got themselves the ball. Sirioni Kuravuli going across. That name didn't quite roll off the tongue the way that I wanted it to. But now Simeone Kuravuli, there we go. We got it that time. Shita Waninyolo, pass on the outside. Fiji, 22 metres out from the line. Offload to Salisi. Rayasi running down the wing. Finishes it. What a terrible decision from Australia. And it leads to Fiji's first try of the match. But Australia, rather than kicking that ball out, McDermott, he has the hands on the hips because he knew he was the reason they didn't boot that ball into touch. And instead now, it gets a little bit closer going into the second half. But Lolesio going for the chip in behind. Fiji claiming it with Simeone Kuravuli. And then just the attack from Fiji on the counter. Looking dangerous. Yo, says Mr. All-In. And no, says Stephen and Tosoviti. Says Meme US Bajita Wainanyolo with the try assist. Salisi Rayasi showing his power that he had for the Canes. And yeah, really strong finish, having three men that he had to go through. Tosoviti says Nasal, and Tosoviti try time says Laurie. And there as well. And now a hard kick from the sideline for Caleb Muntz. And he's just missed it away to the left of the post. But that will be halftime now, ladies and gentlemen. 14 points to 5 in what has been a hectic first half. We've seen a lot of handling errors. We've seen some dominance from Australia at the set piece. And we've seen a counter-attack and try and a half from Fiji right at the end of this matchup. Or right at the end of this half, I should say. Yeah, second half, I hope, will be just as entertaining and relatively intriguing in that regard too. One moment, we will go like this, and we will go like that as well. But yeah, interesting first 40 minutes. Is it just me, or does Len Ikatel look like the Sevens Aussie rugby player who's wear the head tape? Can't remember his name, but he's a splitting image. How long ago in the Sevens are we talking? Maurice Longbottom, is it? No, or Maurice Longbottom, I think, is a little bit stockier in terms of a bit more compact as well, but it could be him cracking try, says Tony. And this is brutal, says Daniel, and how to watch in Canada. Have you got a VPN, Daniel? So I think your only option would potentially be through something like Stan Sport for those matches. I feel like this game is nowhere near as globally broadcast as it should be, though, to be fair. And how does that happen? Timemate's over. You still get scored on, says Lamatasi. And I can't believe how frustrated Fiji are with ball in hand, says Zai. And also Rayasi is the man, says amazing. And also a great first half from Australia. They've owned almost every part of the pitch in the first half, says the What's Up Guys podcast. And 6 a.m. in South Africa. And as well, Rayasi is playing well. Yeah, he's actually had more of a kicking role to play at the back for Fiji than he normally would. Of course, being out on the wing for the Hurricanes. Well done too. Your great commentary, and a few players in the game are better at defending a defender one-on-one like Rayasi. Just did feel like I've seen that a bunch of times for the Canes. There's freshman and high in the chat as well from IT. Welcome in. Yeah, second half, I think, will be a very interesting one. Where can someone stream this? Says Daniel. I do think that, so Stan Sport alongside Sky Sport here in New Zealand, they are the only two locations that I know of that actually have this game. Jog on Spammer says Xavier there, and Fiji needs to minimize handling errors. Yeah, I think that if they were able to hang on to that ball much more in that first half, we could have seen a whole different kind of score line. Australia have had their fair share of mistakes as well, but they have got the 2 tries. As this is Rugby Sevens or just Rugby Union, says Kiri. It is in the Rugby Union side of things. Fiji, though, back in action for the Sevens a little bit later on in the year. And what did you think of the All Blacks? I thought that they were a little bit rusty in their game, but I also do think that a huge amount of credit needs to go to the way that France played and kind of took on the game. And, as a young, inexperienced team, they looked like they went out there with a point to prove. Streaming on Rugby Pass TV, says Som Chai. So, yeah, I think that's some location. So maybe Canada will be one of those that you will be able to find it. And also, here the Australia wins by 21. And I think Australia could beat the Lions. Says Greet the Sacred Cow. Not a bad scoreline for Fiji. And Lions watching this intensely. Says Lama Tassi. And it is the only game that we get to see for Australia before their British and Irish Lions test matches. So, yeah, it'll be a very interesting one. But now, we have to wait just that a little bit longer to find out whether or not Fiji, with that try being scored, whether now they've got their rhythm. And France will be like, come on, we can do better. Says the What's Up Guys podcast. I think Razor will make minimal changes. Says Mr. All-In. I think there'll be a couple switches. I don't think there'll be wholesale changes. The only way they would have done that maybe is if they won that first game comfortably. But I do still think they have to keep the structure and the foundation of the team with a few switches along the way. Fiji by 3. Says I'm there and listening from a restaurant in Fiji, no TV here. Says YouTube user. And also I think Razor, oh no, I read that one, didn't I? And France will be like, come on, we can do better, says the What's Up Guys podcast on the Fijian flags from the Via there. And Australia win the series 3-0. Says Gareth. That would be very impressive, although I'm not sure whether or not that is going, I think a 2-1 is going to be on the cards. And also, Italy did well in the second half to hold down the bomb squad. Razor needs to watch and analyse that, says Laurie. And also Fiji flags from Rice in there as well. Now, second half, just about to get underway. I just saying that disallowed try from Harry Potter, too close to getting himself one earlier on. We saw the tries of Dave Parecki and also Fraser McWright, though, for Australia. The last minute one coming from Salisi Areasi for the Fijians. I think on this half, I think the Lions feast on the Wallabies as a threat to the zoo. And Josh Tuisova says Martella had a few runs, although Lena Cattell has done very well to make a lot of tackles on him. And I do think that if Tuisova can break the line in the second half, Australia could find themselves in a little bit of trouble defensively. Yeah, Italy not bad up front. The Kirtley Arnold's a try, though, as 1-on-4. Says Greet the Sacred Cow, and you think Rico will start wing. Depends on what the plan is for Robertson. If you're going to go with Rico on the wing once and they want to turn him back into a winger, then they have to keep on playing him out there, whether or not he had rust out there on the wing. And, he had his fair share of errors. Didn't chase the ball hard at all, other than the one that ended up being a mark by the French that he was getting nowhere near. So he's got a lot to prove if he wants to be out on that side. Because, honestly, I know a lot of people give Caleb Clark stick for how he went throughout 2025 Super Rugby. But I think he'd do more in the black jersey at the moment than Rico, out on that left wing. Right, they have just mentioned that Dave Parecki failed his HIA. Rico should be in the reserve, says Godzone. And need Hoskins, Satutu, and Kitty Naholo in this Fijian team, says Laurie. Yeah, I feel like they'd be two guys that would fit in quite nicely. Kitty Naholo sadly injured at the moment. And Satutu hasn't made up his mind if he's heading to England, Fiji, or staying in New Zealand just at this point. John Tate McDermott sniping runs. The way Fiji play doesn't reflect their world ranking. Georgia and Uruguay would easily beat them. Says I think the last time that they played Georgia, though, Fiji did beat Georgia. Drinking water just makes me thirsty. Says What's Up Guys podcast, and also Tava Nawai is the number 12, says Ima. Although Geordie Barrett I actually thought was one of the decent options in that All Blacks back line. And Curtly Anderson and Colby are better than AB's wingers. Feels madman. Says Greet the Sacred Cow, and also Clark is still a massive threat. He went through a try-scoring drought, but even Jonah failed to score against the Box, for example. Sometimes big threats are targeted on D. Says Greet the Sacred Cow, and starting a campaign to stop the short box kicks in your half ridiculous, particularly in the last 15 in a close match, hold the ball. Says Scooby-Doo. Well, that's the thing. Australia went for the little chip in behind here, and it heavily hurt them because it led to a counter-attacking try of the Fijians. They then got them back into this contest and put them in a position talking to Sonny Bill Williams. Right, so Sonny Bill Williams saying about his Paul Gallen fight. Of course, that has taken place in 10 days' time. Sonny Bill Williams called himself a teddy bear when he's at home, but he said that Paul Gallen poked him. So he's gonna knock him out, is what his comment was. Starting a campaign on, I read that one, like Tonga Fiji are in a rebuild with new coaches, says Laurie, and Supyol says Colossus, an Aussie coach for the last World Cup. Must be watching from somewhere. He's watching with his Japanese side, who were victorious up against the Welsh in their last fixture. And Sonny Bill Williams, great player, but can't stand him on the mic. Says Greet the Sacred Cow. And in the huddle at the moment, Australian side trying to fire up, get around to go for the second 40 minutes. They will know that they made a mistake at the end of the first half. They've got a decent bench, although two players have already made their way on. That was Angus Bell briefly for the HAO of James Slipper, who has returned back out onto the park. And then we saw Billy Pollard make his way on, and that was due to the injury of Dave Parecki. He failed his HIA. He won't be returning in this one, but still Zane Ngor, Tom Hooper, Carlo Tazano, Nick White, Ben Donaldson, and Filippo Dungunu. There is the number 23 for the Fijians. I don't believe any changes have been made as of yet. They have got Manala as an option at 23, Armstrong, Ravula, Basilala as the back replacement, Tui Sui, Masaki Vofi in the number 19 jersey. I believe that is going to be his debut for Fiji. Sam Matavesi, Hiriti, and also Masaki Donghae as the number 18. Any changes in the second half hour? Says Ima. I think that we'll see quite a few changes, probably made quite early for these two teams, particularly for Australia in this match, because they will be wanting to test everyone in their 23 heading into that British and Irish Lions first test. Sonny Bill Williams, great player, but can't stand him on the mic. And also, you think Jordan stays at 14? It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because what do they do with the All Blacks? Do they start McKenzie as their 15 now, with Will Jordan out on the right wing just to fill in that gap? Or do we see Will Jordan go to 15 and maybe Amoni Narawa does get that chance out on the right? Or the other option is to go Will Jordan on the 14 and then Ruben Love at 15? Might be something we see from Scott Robertson. Tosafeti says FJ Freaky. And also, yeah, like Fiji coming back into the game. Says the What's Up Guys podcast, and not too bad of a first start, says Birdie. And Scottish midfield could have a field day against decision-making like that, says Noel. And yeah, I think that the Lions, they'll look at this game from the Australians. And of course, Australia will fix a few errors from this game. It is their first outing as a team. But, you know, the Lions, they'll look at this one and go, right, we can work with this. We can find a way of taking them down because, you know, it is only a couple weeks away. Not a lot of time to be able to adjust. D-Mac at 15 makes me nervous because his D isn't that great. Not his fault, he's like 80 kgs. Yeah, probably for body weight size, McKenzie, like, he certainly packs a punch, but unfortunately for him, like you said, he's not the same size as other players, but he seems to make up with it with the fact that he just gets back up after getting smashed off. And just all the Fijian fans, says FJ Freaky. Although, going on that defence, I believe Ruben Love's tackle completion throughout Super Rugby was actually lower than Damian McKenzie's. But of course, when you are playing as a 10, you won't have as much one-on-one defence to do as a man at 15, so it's a little bit deceptive, I guess you could say, in terms of the statistics. But Ruben Love, decent under the high ball, which I think could actually work in his favour in terms of the selection. heading towards that second French game. But yeah, we will have a video either tomorrow or the next day, I would say, where we do have a bit of a prediction in terms of what New Zealand will be going with in their Scott Robertson lineup. And also cheers to all the Fijian fans. Yeah, it is great to see the support that they've had, not just on, of course, this stream, but also at the game. Looks like quite a few Fijian supporters watching on, hoping to see perhaps a big upset in the second half. Fiji currently considered $10 underdogs in this contest, so for them to be able to turn it around and win would be absolutely massive. A couple minutes before the second half gets underway. I think Australia will play the constructive forward play this half to create more space, quick one-offs, then skip pass wide to finish. Thank you, Schmidt. I'll send you the bill. And when Fiji actually learns to hold the ball, we are all toast. So there's Jovi there. Is there a game that you might commentate tomorrow? No games tomorrow, but the next game that we are covering will be the 10 p.m. kickoff on Wednesday night, and that is the Brumbies versus British and Irish Lions matchup. So that will be the next one that we've got. Before then, we've got a South African lineup announcement. I believe that will be on Wednesday morning for us here in New Zealand at around maybe 4 a.m. And then also the Under-20s Rugby Championship is happening after that Brumbies, British and Irish Lions one. So we'll be covering South Africa versus Scotland in that competition, and then potentially either New Zealand versus Ireland or England versus Australia. Probably New Zealand, Ireland though. Are you surprised with how the All Blacks versus France went? Says Yeedy Bird. I would say a little bit, but at the same time, I did think that France were going to be better than people were giving them credit for. Maybe not this good. I thought maybe about 10, 20 point margin between the sides, but this this French young side, they just seem to really show a lot of heart for a young outfit, and they look like guys who are trying to get selected for the future one. What odds do you give South Africa for winning at Eden Park? I think it's too early to say. Like, there could be so many injuries till then. We could see a whole different starting lineup for both sides heading into that match. And we're basing it off this most recent weekend of rugby. You'd probably say South Africa, but then at the same time, I do think that their handling throughout that game would be a bit of a concern if they were to drop that ball that much in the Eden Park Test match. But yeah, it'll be an intriguing one. But once again, we need to see the squads, we need to see the lineups, and also we need to see a bit of the form. Of course, first outing for the ABs of this year, South Africa was their second. So South Africa no chance at Eden Park. Says God's Own and Mwala should come in, says Ima. And South Africa are so going to win that match. There's a What's Up Guys podcast, and Brumbies are excellent. That game will be sick. Although the only problem with that is they will be missing a lot of their Wallabies players. So the Brumbies will be a little bit different looking compared to what they were throughout Super Rugby Pacific. But they should still be well and truly up for the fight. England probably takes the game of the weekend. Yeah, I'd say that England had the best performance out of any international team throughout this weekend. And, well, I'll say that outside of those games involving lower ranked sides that we didn't actually get a chance to watch. So, you know, like Chile, they had a good win over the Romanians, but I think they were expected to win that game. Ireland won up against Georgia once again, an expected result. So, yeah, I probably would go with the English side. I'm sorry, but I didn't know this is how Aussies sound. That is because I'm not from Australia. Now, Tom Wright, claiming that ball 40 metres out from his own line here. Tate McDermott goes back across. Quick hands from Pollard. Nola Alessio shoveling it on at Ikatel to Suali'i. Jorgensen rush defence. Up from Caleb Munson. The penalty goes the way of Fiji. They have earned themselves the early penalty for holding on in the breakdown. Tui Sova locking over. You sound Australian. Well, I'm not Australian. We have got that Eden will be renamed Ellis Park. After the box, gets with the AB, says Jovi. And Tom Wright is so good, says Greet the Sacred Cow. And also, but South Africa are a top team, so of course they are going to win. Says, what's up, guys? And you can never take any French team lightly. Exactly right. Oh, they're saying Suali'i a little bit slow to get that ball on one more, but Tui Sova. Oh, no, we've got a stoppage here. Okay, line out was not set. Here's the ref, and Fiji are dropping ball as always, says YouTube user. And would have loved Argentina to have won against England. Keep their streak alive, beating all the top teams, says L'Oreal. that one, was it knocked on? Oh, looking towards the referee there. And it is a knock on, which means that it will now be the scrum for Australia. This match is so stop-start. It is. With that mustache, you could pass for an Aussie. Says God's own. It could be Nick White's brother, perhaps, in that regard. But yeah, another scrum. Unfortunately for Fiji, that was such a good penalty to win early, give them the momentum just after scoring their own try. And then it just goes a little bit wrong. But now, ready to feed this ball in again. Take McDermott. Big chance for him. Able to step up and get that starting jersey. Off the bench, they have got Nick White. I need to find what Marshy said. That man taking a lot of heat. He always takes heat, though. So he pretty much called it disrespectful for France to send such a weakened team. But it wouldn't have been that disrespectful if they had beat the All Blacks. In fact, I don't think they're, yes, it's unfortunate that those top guys that people wanted to see didn't play, but, that's passed off the head. Tui Sovas making it straight into the face of Tangi Valu. Why can't you show us a video of the game? Because of copyright. Any match footage or audio will get you taken straight off YouTube with a copyright strike. Tom Wright now going on the outside to Len Ikitau again, finds himself in a bit of space. Taken down by Viliami Mata. Argentina did beat last year AB's Wallabies, South African Lions this year. Says Laurie. Now offloaded from Alatoa Suali'i, lined up by Tui Sova. Was welcoming him to a match-up against the Fijians, knocked back by Aussie. And fair enough, says the What's Up Guys podcast. And if Fiji score, that means it's going to be a tight match. And good to see Harry Potter play rugby after a stellar Quidditch career. Says Chris. Rolling this one back. Take McDermott again. Going for the high. Ball, it will come down just outside of the 22. Taken by Caleb Muntz. Fiji going off to the left with Penny Ravai, 44 minutes through at the moment. So plenty of time for them to be able to get back and close out this 9-point window. And I also come on Fiji, Tosa Fiti Toso. Koravoli, partially charged down kick, and it is offside against Jeremy Williams. Got sold early, a little bit of a body shuffle from Koravoli to get him to advance. And then does get pinged for offside. Yeah, the backline from Australia in the second half does seem once again like they're trying to keep the ball off the ground. And I mean, when Tuisova won that early penalty, you can understand exactly why that is the tactic. Now kicking it down towards the sideline. And also love an underdog, says Laurie. You've got Michael Hooper on the commentary, 125 Wallabies test. Fraser McWright doing very nicely in that number 7 jersey since the absence of Hooper. Lineouts lost 4 for Fiji in this match. They're only sitting 50% for their lineout accuracy in this match. Kuravuli now going off to the left-hand side, almost through the gap, and offloads up. Osefo Masi has dropped that ball again. Unfortunately, it was a bit the same for the Fijian draw throughout the season. I do think Osefo Masi, his best year was, I think it was not last season, but the season before. In fact, no, it might have been last season that the man was at his most successful. But since then, his handling has really taken a downward spiral. And Michael Hooper is such a legend. He was done dirty by Eddie in Rugby Australia. Yeah, it was a shame that he didn't get his last World Cup under his belt, as I think he would have been a great option in that number 7 jersey. Errors 9 from Fiji compared to the 5 of the Australians. This has not been a good showing, I would say, from either side. But there's still time to turn it around. And, of course, that victory on the board is the main thing that both of these sides will be after. Now going off to the right-hand side here. Len Ikitau looping around as Tate McDermott showing pace. Goes to Harry Potter, kicking him behind with the grubber. But sitting back there waiting for it was Salisi Rayasi. Puts in the fend on Potter. And does get held up by Len Ikitau. Eventually the knee does hit the turf though. Back across to the right-hand side, Kuravuli. Popping it up now, Tuisova. Good hands from Masi this time, Fiji. 30 metres out from their line, the crying emoji there from Debater of Everything. Who was better, Hooper or Pocock? It depends on who you talk to. Like, Pocock, I would say, was one of those players that everyone around the rugby world seemed to hate because of how good he was in terms of those breakdowns. Like, he was just absolutely lightning fast. But he had a lot of people's respects, but they just hated playing him because of the fact that they knew they were going to concede 1 or 2 penalties for not releasing. Pocock impact, Hooper longevity. Says great there. Now passes across there. Nice run from Max Jorgensen. 40 metres now for Australia from the Fijian try line. James Slipper gets a couple extra. McDermott across to Noah Lolesio. Goes to Fraser McWright. Couldn't quite link up with Harry Wilson, who was running alongside him. Lolesio looping around the back of Vicky down. Now Tom Wright finds Hooper. In fact, no, sorry, finds Potter on the outside. Chipping behind. Chasing after that one. Jorgensen. I'm not sure if he got it cleanly. I'm also not sure if that pass from Wright to Potter was forward or not. But it looks like he's claiming the try. Yeah, they're saying what a try that one is. They'll have to check the grounding for Jorgensen. Make sure that it is going to be all right. And Fiji coaching at training, run fast through the forest. The trees, your forward step, make it out the trees, you're a back. Says Laurie. And also we have got there because he scored Australia's first try in the World Cup 2015. And also we have their try, says Debater, but it is kicked him behind. Yeah, well controlled by Max Jorgensen. It's just that pass from Wright. Yeah, that angle made it look forward. I think they chose the wrong camera for that one if they were trying to make it look backwards. And Jorgensen managing to get the grounding too. Australia needs to win by 17 to impress. Okay, they are checking this one now by the looks of it for the TMO. No, Lolesio says, am I allowed to still set up for this kick? And the ref says yes, but you may have to go back for it. They are just getting clearance on this kick. Okay, Morgan Turanui does not sound sold on it. But it's the pass from Tom Wright to Harry Potter that they will be going back forward. But try, says Lamatasi. They check every little thing now. Says Godzone. Yeah, this weekend of rugby has been far from free-flowing in terms of the amount of decisions that have gone upstairs. But they are going to be checking it now. And the TMO Southern Hemisphere decision seemed too quick. Says Laurie. All right, they're checking this one at Tom Wright. It did go forward to Harry Potter. We're going to see it now. Yeah, forward pass. They need to show the reverse angle, he has said. And the commentators have just said that is forward as well. And also, I've got I was gutted to see Japan beat Wales this morning. I got a Eddie Jones. Says Chris. I think they're still trying to find the reverse angle so that they can see it from another side. Australia at this point think that they're going to have this try if they can't find that second angle. Right, here it is. Crowd making some noise. I'm not sure if that's the Fijian supporters or the Aussie supporters. Also, 18 losses in a row for Wales, as just said. Says great, but the grounding was good from Jorgensen, which he's done very well because it could have easily popped out of the grasp. We're trying to get that one down. Right, this angle's a bit deceptive as well. That's not going to tell you too much, although it did look forward from that side. Right. Another angle here. How long are we going to look at it? It's forward. It's unfortunate, but it's forward by about a metre for the Australians. And if if Tom Wright had thrown it like a union pass rather than a league shovel on, he would have had a lot more chance of it going backwards because he just kind of didn't try and spiral it, instead just popped it forward. TMO just slows down the game. Yeah, I don't know why we've looked at this 10 times. I feel like it's clear, isn't it? That it's gone forward by the metre, or am I just seeing things? So no try. It should be no try, but they're doing 50,000 replays, which makes me think that they're more likely to say it's okay. Right. Okay. Ball travel forward out of the hand is the decision. So it is going to be no try. See, it takes forever, says Godzone. Yeah, bit of a 2 or 3 minute break there from the action. And also, Wales need to recruit Draco Malfoy. says Chris, but it is going to be no try for Harry Potter. That is, for Jorgensen. Now 1 try disallowed for both of the Australian wingers. Just avoid the try, stupid ref. Says the What's Up Guys podcast, and geez, that took ages. It took about 2 minutes longer than it needed to. Now will be the scrum feed. Tom Wright. He is not happy about it. He's saying that it went backwards. Yeah, I do think it's the passing, I guess the passing technique of Tom Wright. You guys can all thank Todd Greenberg for all this bunker nonsense. Says Powerbike 9-2, and seems to be longer the TMO takes. Will certainly be no try, although sometimes they just give up. By the stage that they've looked at it for 3 minutes, there have been times where they've just gone, okay, just go with the on-field. Ate any buttercups lately? I have not, no. Which is good, because I don't think they're very good for you. They are a flower. But now kicking in behind, running in behind, I should say. For the Fijians, they have now moved 35 metres out from the Aussie line. Muntz with the flat ball to Viliami Mata. And there is going to be an advantage now for Australia, being offside. Davida Ikanaveri tackled low by Alan Alatoa. And they'll go back for the penalty. Has this weekend, or this has been the weekend of TMO? Yeah, it has. I don't think we've ever seen a TMO involved so much across a weekend of rugby. This has got to be the most longest TMO ever, says the What's Up Guys. And Wales need Rico, he's half Welsh. Said Laurie, and also Razor said once you restart at the kickoff, then you can't go back. Tough ball to swallow at that loss last year. Then again, it won't be put on the big screen over there, says Mr. Orlin. Is Tuis over there? He is. He's had a couple good runs and got a big turnover in the second half, but they've shut him down well at times. Lenikatel keeping a close eye on him. Fiji actually opting to take the 3 points here after winning this penalty. So a bit of a different tactic in terms of that mindset. And just joined our Fiji team doing, they've had a lot of errors in terms of handling throughout that first 50 minutes, but they're still within the chance of getting back into this contest. Caleb Muntz, that's nice, isn't it? The big screen in behind the post has a big graphic that pops up saying he's 0 from 1 today. But that kick has hit the post and just snuck over for Fiji. 6 points difference now. We'll make the score. I don't know, we had 19 points to 5. I think that was before when they had still awarded the try. But it is currently 14 points to 8. And what a change. No wonder Megan and co find you appealing. That looks suits you, Hamish, says JT. Yeah, I'm not too sure how long it's going to be sticking around for, but it is here just for these couple live streams. Fiji need to wear gloves. Their hands are ridiculous, says Zion. Fiji is doing good, says Ashil. And also, is Fiji doing good? They're doing all right in certain aspects. I do think the second half has been a lot better than their first. All looking straight into the sun, therefore. It was Sareli Mangwala. Now, Kuravuli. Fiji inside of their 22. Hitting it up as Tangi Valu, tackled by Harry Wilson. Now, Kuravuli again back into the pocket. Finds Caleb Muntz. And he does clear the lines. Yes, Fiji are doing good. Are they just behind by 6, says Chris. And Fiji is doing Fiji, says Lamatasi. Was that a drop kick? No, it was just a regular kick off the kicking tee from Caleb Muntz. So the scoreboard is extremely wrong at the moment. The online one, that is. It's 14 points to 8, ladies and gentlemen. So hopefully it will update in the near future. Fiji has butterfingers, says Philip. Yeah, fair share of errors throughout this game. Double figures in the first half for the amount of times that the ball was dropped. Australia, they've been a little bit lackluster in terms of some of their handling for this match too. As at the score 19-5, it is actually 14-8. So hopefully the scoreboard does update to what it's supposed to be in the future. And now looking for the rolling ball here, Australia. SPG has butterfingers, says Laurie. Now across Lenikatel, short ball to Langy Gleeson. Fiji are doing just enough to give Australia a good run, says Debater. Oh, a bit of a counter-up coming there from Hereti Hetetu, who recently made his way on. Pick and go from Australia around the side of the breakdown. Sam Matavisi wanted to steal, but he did go to a knee, so it gives away the early penalty advantage. He's only just made his way onto the field. McDermott, Lolesio trying the kick him behind again. No one's getting to that. That just seemed like a bit of a give the ball away situation. Will Australia take 3 here? It is in the middle of the field. You would argue that it is a kickable 3, well and truly. So perhaps What is Noah Lalicio plan in this case? And Australia is not playing that great. Here's Phillips, so they are kicking for the corner here rather than taking on the 3. They've decided they want to go for the win, even though those extra 3 points could be vital. Did the scoreboard change? Yes, so this is the correct scoreline now. It's currently 14 points today, up by the 6 for the Aussies. They are trying to make it up by 13. And we have got there, what are you talking about? Australia are winning. So here's what's up, guys. And also that was backwards try, it should have been. Our liner has been the test 10 for the Lions. And that is now not straight from Australia at the line out. Oh no, in fact, it's obstruction. And against Jeremy Williams. So Fiji managed to get themselves the penalty just out from their own try line here. I was expecting them to be at least up by 15, but good stuff. Bulla says Lamatasi. Now about 35 metres out from the line. Harry Wilson was just that same obstruction penalty that we've seen actually throughout 2 games this weekend. One for the British and Irish Lions versus Waratahs and one for New Zealand versus France. I'll bet Fiji will drop the ball again. Oh, okay, it wasn't a drop ball, but it was a rough pass that went in behind and found no one. Now Gita Wainyolo getting around James Slipper, also breaking through the middle of the field. Great stepping from the Fijian winger. He is still going forward. Jorgensen's trying to stop him, but Tangi Valu scores it in the corner. I think they'll check the grounding, but that is a sensational, almost full field try from the Fijians. Bajita Wainyolo, Ndroa Sisi, Celestino Ravotomanda, both watching on and loving that one. Come on, Fiji calls an upset. Says Laurie. Yeah, massive try for Tangi Valu, but all the credit has to go to Jeta Wainyolo, who was only 25 metres out from his own line. In fact, he might have been even closer at the time that he picked the ball up. It was loose. It was a poor pass. But then from there, Jeta Wainyolo, he bet Slipper. He bet Alalatoa, which then took Frost out of the equation. He bet McDermott. He outpaced Billy Pollard. He bet Tom Wright. He bet 5 defenders almost, and then still managed to find the next pass. Jorgensen, good defensive effort, but Tangi Valu does get that try. Fiji now with a kick towards the lead. Watch out, Aussie says God zone. And there, so now you have to ask the question, should Australia have just taken the 3? Caleb Muntz brings it round and gets it over. Crowd celebrating it. 15 points to 14 now. 25 minutes remaining. The handling errors are something I would not have expected in conditions like this. They look more like wet weather stats to me. And also, hello Hamish, how are you doing today? Says Devin the 11th, doing extremely well. A little bit tired, I will admit, after the all-nighter that we pulled off last night. But Fiji celebrating that one in the coaching box too. Kicked off long by Australia, who now have to get themselves back into this game. They are down by the 1 point, so of course still plenty of time to play. And plenty of opportunity to get that one back. Always take the 3 points if it puts you beyond a try, says Mike. And perhaps that was a little bit of overconfidence from the Wallabies in this game. Expected to be able to get that rolling ball going. I see James Slipper now being taken off the field after missing that tackle. And we have got there, it's a tight match, says what's up, guys. And also Australia eat that tasty butter chicken, let's go, says Laurie. And also we have got there, Australia look very, very rusty, says Demon the 11th. Yeah, although it's much better that they're rusty here than in those British and Irish Lions matches. Although in the world rankings, this match is the only one that can get them up or down in said rankings. Nick White onto the field for McDermott as well. So it seems like the changes are starting to come thick and fast off the bench for Australia. And ball still there. Oh, Jeremy Williams gets rid of Salisi Reasi. Australia, their own worst enemy. Stupidity at its best, says Kane. Australia need this game more than Fiji, says Adrian. Back across to the left. Angus Bell. One more on Jeremy Williams. Going into Tuisova. Does make the tackle yet again. Still another 23 minutes on the clock. The Aussies will be feeling like us Kiwis last night, says Godzone. And once again, it's a case of an underdog being competitive with the favourite. Harry Wilson doesn't get the ball. It does roll all the way into touch. Will this game affect rankings? It will, yes. This match does, but the games for Australia up against the British and Irish Lions, they do not affect the rankings. But no, Lalicio got it into the hands of Langy Gleeson and then just trying to rush it there, Australia, with Nick White trying to find the pass to Nick White, trying to find the pass to Harry Wilson, which I believe was actually supposed to go to Alatoa, but Wilson got his hand in the way. Oh, knock on, though, from Fiji. Jeremy Williams giving Nick Frost a big slap on the back because pretty much that line out, they just threw him up and left him and all left. Come on, Suoli, do something you get paid well to. Game is getting spicy, says Laurie there. Yeah, but it was close like this, says God's Own. And there too, Langy Gleeson off, and that is for Carlo Tazzano, who knows a thing or two about getting tries as well as getting steals in the breakdown. He was the top try scorer of Super Rugby Pacific for 2025 at the Western Force. Fiji Love a good knock on, says Zai. Now Nick White, 25 metres out from Fiji's line. They have got the lead for the first time in this contest. But can they hang on to it? And then back to Margarine hands. Says Alamatasi, but the ball is in. Nick White to the right. Finds Max Jorgensen. A counter-ruck attempted there from Fiji, but did lose the footing for Viliami Mata. Pops it up to Angus Bell now for Aussie. Wallabies have certainly been in a battle here. Nice offload from Wilson. Finds Noah Lalicio 10 metres out from the line here. But Fiji managing to get the steal of the breakdown. It was Sireli Mangwala and now kick downfield from Shita Wainyolo. A lot of distance on that kick and it's rolling towards the touchline. Well controlled at the back for Harry Potter, who now fires it across to Nick Frost. Tries to step but slips over in the process. Ball rolls out on the side of Fiji. That might have been playing the ball on the ground from the Fijian player though. Joshua Tuisova pass on the outside. Mangwala cuts back inwards, reaches out and scores it. But yeah, Nick White might be asking a couple questions there about that breakdown and legitimacy of that steal. This is unreal. Worst possible game for Australia right now. Ouch, says Chris Lord. But that one has counted for now. Whether or not they are checking it, we will have to wait and see. But counter-attack again after the mistake from Australia. So Rally Mangwala in their number 23 jersey. This game is insane, says the What's Up Guys podcast. But Harry Potter with the wide cutout pass to Nick Frost, who tried the step and did just slip over. Right, that one's fine, but then it's the playing on the ground, whether or not that man was in the breakdown is the one that I'm wondering about. Butterfly effect from not taking the three, says Mike. And TMO again says the What's Up Guys podcast. And as we over there, time for Donaldson to come on, says Kane. Right, the TMO is checking this one. Potentially in touch is actually the call that they are looking for. Now, I don't know if the TMO was called into play here or whether the TMO has found this himself. Because if the TMO has found it himself, then more than likely it is out. We're going to see it now for... Oh, we're going right back to check if Harry Potter's foot was in touch. Oh, they're not going to try and rule that out, are they? For looking at a foot that might have grazed. Oh, it touched the line. So they are going to... No. See, to me, no. So it's going to be no try. They're going to go right back across to the far side. If anything, that's Australia's error, though. So, I guess they have to keep it consistent, which is if we saw Australia score off that, they would go back and rule it out. So that one's going to be ruled out. TMO's looked very hard to find that, though. As that happened a good minute or so ago, Noah Alexio smacking the back of his head on the ground. So he is actually still down and will get stretched off the field. And far out rugby is trash, says Zai there. Are you kidding me, says the What's Up Guys podcast. And checking everything again, says God's Own. And also, why Aussie so bad, but never recovered from what? Says Vastaria. But yeah, this does not look good for Noah Alexio. Unfortunately, the tackle on him, he just slaps his head. In fact, I'm not sure how much contact the head actually made with the ground. I think it was just that hyperextension of the neck. So they have to be very careful with that one. We are looking at 50,000 replays of it, which I don't think Noah Alexio will want to see. And does a video robbed? If it was the other way around, would have been a try FFS. Says Laurie, not same game anymore. This is what they're doing now, waiting till the team scored, then pull it out, cheating, said what? Well, that's the thing. Like, the TMO would have had plenty of time to look at that beforehand. Because it happened a good, 3 or 4... Oh, no, not quite 3 or 4 phases. Probably 2 or so phases before And TMO should be banned, says Thorfinn. And FTMO says Derek. And it's a try that could have won Fiji the game from here, but now we wait to see whether or not it will have a lasting impact on this game by a millimetre. That foot of Harry Potter on the touchline. And yep, says Lamatasi. In there as well. But yeah, it looks like the whiplash was also one of the factors. So now they might need another 10. The question mark, ladies and gentlemen, they have got Tom Liner. They have got Ben Donaldson. Is this where we see JOC called up for another British and Irish Lions tour? Add him up, Fiji, says Edward there. TMO is getting worse all the time, and they wait till you score, then start looking for something, says Godzone. Yeah, unfortunately, in the world of rugby at the moment, and this is not the only try we're using as an example, for some reason, the mindset has become, can we find a reason not to award a try rather than can we find a reason to award it? Yeah, it's become, we're having a lot more tries ruled out than we are getting tries overruled as tries. These TMO decisions are actually ridiculous, says Zai there. This will be used against us up north at the end of the year, and we will all know how the TMO is up there, says Lamatasi. But now we have moved into the last quarter. Isn't there a rule or a directive about going back more than 3 phases of play to look for an error? True. And we only, or I think it changed from the 3 phases to until a turnover happens. So, I mean, we saw Fiji take that ball. We saw Fiji take that ball in that breakdown, in which case that means that there's been a clean steal, and that then rules out anything beforehand redundant. That actually still should have been a try, and that wasn't actually something they're allowed to look at. I've just had that realisation. It's a little bit similar to what we saw for Moana Pacifica in Super Rugby. But yeah, the law states if there is a change of possession, like it's the start of phase play that you're allowed to look through, and the start of phase play was when Fiji got themselves the steal. So that was 100% not allowed from the TMO, even though it's the right decision. That is outside of the laws. Would be a blowout if not for the TMO, says Philip. The ref's words choice is paramount. I check every try that is not 100%, that's fair, says Callum. Noel Alicio getting taken off the field. James O'Connor, please, says Aldrin there. And by steal, you mean intercept? Yeah, so like a change of who has possession. Who got injured? Noel Alicio. In that case. Yeah, that actually wasn't allowed to be ruled out, according to the law book, because we had to go through that for a Moana Pacifica game in which their try was disallowed, that it should have been staying as a try as there was a possession switch. And I know I slept in, says Sarah, although it's still pretty early morning for yourself, I do assume, so it is great to have you here. It is getting to the big business end of this competition. 20 minutes remaining, knocking that one back for the Australians. Now Harry Potter trying to step through up to 22 minutes. You slipped in, lol. Says Adrian Timo is turning into VAR. And it is what it is, says Fiji Islander and Tossa Fiji. Says Josiah there. And James O'Connor says Aldrin. And they're two rolling this one back. Nick White ready to kick this one downfield. The Timo's killing the game as well as the length of the time. They play the advantage rule, says Phil. Taken by Harry Potter close to the sideline. And does very well to keep inside of the field of play. Now back across to the left, Ben Donaldson. Zane Ungor has made his way on for Australia. I just want to sue the TMO. I need someone to be near the TV, pull the plug out, says Laurie, and Tossa Fiji says Eminau Tuisova. Sitting about the 30 metres out from the line. Simeone Kuravoli. Fiji, that seems like maybe that disallowed try has just fired them up that little bit more. Who scored the other tries besides Max? So Max Jorgensen's try was ruled out. The 2 legal tries for Australia were scored by Fraser McWright and also Dave Parecki. Aussies are getting slapped so hard that my stream's been cancelled. So I've come for the commentary. Says a business. Well, we do appreciate you being here for this one. It's looking like a hectic finish, trying to milk the penalty there. Kuravoli, referee says, "Nut, you're not doing that." A lot of referees have been actually honing down on those type of penalties when players pass it purposely into an offside player. Now Sarili Mangwala with the offload. In fact, it was Gita Wainyolo. Now a rip ball from Max Jorgensen, but does knock it on. It did rip the ball and then knocked it on, so it will now be the scrum feed for Fiji. Who scored for the Wallabies? Fraser McWright as well as Dave Parecki. Why didn't the linesman raise the flag earlier? I can understand why the linesman didn't, because it was that close and it was like millimetres in it. But at the same time, like I said, in the laws, you are allowed to go back to the possession change. And, you know, Fiji got the steal in the breakdown from Nick Frost. And 6 a.m. here, I tried being awake at 4:30 a.m. for this game. Didn't last long, gutted. I was looking forward to this one. Says Sarah. I'll be honest, I had to set about 3 alarms because I was not keen on getting out of bed after the all-nighter. Joshua Tuisova just getting his cramps stretched out at the moment. They will want him to be able to finish this game. You're good lad, mate, says Tommy. Thank you very much. And we are, of course, going to be back for Fiji's game next week up against the Scottish. So if you guys are new, of course, be sure to check that one out as well. We have got their TMO. I got his multi-writing on this result, says Lamatasi. And also, it's also Fiji, says Emma there. And also, I want to see Dum Beige, says, is that FUREF? That's the name? That's an interesting one, isn't it? Field possession, please. At the moment, 25 metres out from the line. Fiji have got themselves the scrum feed. Welcome, Callum. Says Steve there doing, can Australia really get a win? Well, the thing is, they came in as heavy favourites. Fiji at halftime were $10 underdogs. But Fiji in the second half have looked like the stronger team. And they've sorted out some of their handling errors, which has drastically helped them. Oh, Tuisova sitting down Ben Donaldson, trying to get rid of another fly half. Now, big run forward from Viliami Mata. Off to the left-hand side, Caleb Muntz goes across to Salisi Rayasi. Did score in the first half for Fiji. One of 2 men who have crossed the try line for Fiji in this contest. Now Sam Matavesi, 5 phases in a row for Fiji. Inside 22 metres. Now big breaking run again from Ilya Tharakaivata. How many Wallabies have been smashed to his eye? There's been a lot of big hits for both of these sides in this contest. Kuravoli back across again, finds Hereti Hatit, 10 metres now from the line for Fiji. Kuravoli going back across to the left-hand side, finds Tuisova, 2-man tackle on him as they have to shut him down early to stop that leg drive. Kuravoli, another bar, oh no, referee was just saying it's gone backwards. Now inside flick to Salisi Rayasi. That was high from Zayn Ngor, right in front of the referee, who does say it is all right. Now it's Soana Silasila. Still 10 metres out and up to 12 phases. Now backline movement. Jita, Huayna bumps off one. Will be now Soreli Ngwala cuts back inwards. He had his try disallowed moments ago. Close to the try line. Timo Maina Vanua wrestled down. 5 metres out, 15 phases in a row for the Fijians. Shifting it out wide. Tuisova, and it's a drop ball there from Viliami Mata. As well as one of the worst voice cracks we have had in the channel's existence. Good morning, young man. Nice clean shave, say myself. Says Tibor there. And also, how do you know all the players' names? Just from doing so many games of international rugby, I start to learn them along the way. Fiji number 11 is class, says Chris Lord, and really enjoy your commentary, says Ted there. And Rayasi has done well so far at 15, hasn't he? He's looked really strong in that 15 jersey. Had a great try that he scored, actually in a left-wing position for that one. But you know, at the back, he's been solid enough, and I don't think Australia have tested him enough throughout this match. And it wastes time, says Honi. Is that saying that Fiji need to waste time with a 1-point lead? 15 minutes remaining, it's a long time to be wasting. But Dangunu making his way on to the field. Lena Katau, he will be making his way off. Tom Hooper makes his way on. Jeremy Williams goes off the field, and that lost ball for Viliami Mata will be his last touch of the day. Albert Tuisui makes his way onto the field. Grant Nisbet is just like you. He knows all the players' names. Says, what's up, guys, podcast, and need a big scrum to win. Back the ball and keep the pressure on the Wallabies, says Fiji Islander. But this is a big moment in the game. If Australia don't clear their lines here effectively, we could see Fiji go for, once again, another attack. Ball fed in by Nick White. Big push from Fiji scrum, but Nick White is kicked downfield. Very nice clearing kick down towards halfway. This is bullying, says Ajovi. Now 15-14 on the scoreline. Hamish is like Keith Quinn, the best of the best. Says Alamatasi. A few nervous coaches in that Wallabies box. Joe Schmidt getting some more water. He's a confident man. He had that water bottle open on the desk with a whole heap of laptops around with no lid on. You want to have that level of confidence, of course, but if it does spill, you're in trouble. You're going to need some new equipment now. Kuravoli going off to Salisi. Rayasi gets round one now. Shita one in Yolo. He's really come alive in the second half. Almost a handling error, but really well regathered from Asoana Silla in through the side almost for Carlo Tazzano there. Albert Tuesue for his first touch. And oh dear, this is not in the script, says Tony. Exactly right. It has gone a little bit closer than it was expected, but also Fiji up by the one. Did you see the TMO one, Tony? And if so, what did you think? Because if it was the same as the Adi Savia and Moana Pacifica one, they actually did it in a way that they weren't able to due to the law book. But that is going to be the penalty now going the way of Fiji. This could extend their lead to more than 3, which you would think would be relatively handy. Yep, they are going to take on the 3 points now. Salisi Areasi with a bit of an ankle injury here by the looks of it. Morning, says Adrian. Welcome in. It's a very Uncle Billy mustache, bro. Says I. And also, or are you rocking the Village People mustache? I'm not sure what type of mustache it is. It was just more of a forfeit. TMO loading up the vids just in case Fiji score. Says Lamatasi. The TMO destroys my will to live. Says Tony in there as well. It has been a hard weekend, I would say, with the TMO. But now, Caleb Muntz needs this kick to go over. I know it's early. What are your thoughts on Australia winning the series? Everyone but Europe is rooting for Australia, says Callum. I've said from the start that I hope it's 2-1, but I honestly do think it will be 2-1 in favour of the Lions. But that kick is going to be successful. And now making the score 18 points to 14. And we have got there FFS going to have a heart attack. Says Sino there. I assume that's with the 4-point lead heading into the last 12. We're not rooting for Australia, says Zai. And there too, Kiwis always have a soft spot for Fiji, Samoa and Tonga. Says Zai, nicely taken by Fiji. Still the sun is out in Newcastle. Like I said, a welcome change from what we have seen in the past couple of weeks. Could have volley under pressure there. He's had a solid game at 9, made some good decision, Timo. Just doing his job, says Fiji Islander. Although that last try that he ruled out, he wasn't actually allowed to due to the laws stating that you're not allowed to. Oh, there's a scuffle going on. Someone's shirt's off, and that almost looked like there was a flying elbow on the ground. They might have to have a look at that one. That is where the TMO should be stepping in. Ben Donaldson goes off to Nick Frost. I believe both players have returned. I haven't seen an Aussie run back pass, though, so maybe they have still been debating who had the better of it. Tosaviti Dosso says Seller in there. Now Pollard going to the left-hand side again. Filippo Dungunu. And this is insane. Australia lulling us all into a false sense of security. I think it's just they've played a bit rough because it's their first game of the year. Wallabies going off to the right now. Carlo Tazzano. Tackled by Masaki Donge as well as Hirete Hitit. Now kicked to behind Nick White. Experienced head puts the ball out inside of the 22. I know someone going to the bin. Says it was there from Lamatasi and 3-zip to the Lions. Rather convincingly, I'm afraid. Hope I'm wrong. Says distracted. And also my cousin up in his mind camp. I was watching your stream last night for the AB's team. They were actually very highly and a total professional. Says Thorfinn. So yeah, it is much appreciated. Like this weekend's been a pretty hectic one in terms of the matches that we have seen. But you guys have been consistently here all throughout the weekend, and now it is going to be Simeone Kuravoli who will make his way off the field to us. This is a carry-on from the Super Rugby comp, says Lamatasi. And also we have got there, might as well use ChatGPT to control the game at this point, and also we have there how many minutes left, says Adrian. Still 10 minutes left on the clock. Salisi Areasi kicking downfield off his left boot, and not taking the 3 early has changed the complexion of this match for Australia here, turning it down. Going for the corner, and from there we've seen Fiji. Oh, knock on from Jorgensen. Kick downfield from Sam Matavesi. That's not nice. He's kicked it out on the full. That is why a hooker normally wouldn't kick, ladies and gentlemen. Saw the space in behind. I want to say it was the right idea if he was a back. But in that case, getting it off the side of the boot. And once again, some more cramp to deal with for Salisi Reasi, who's put in a shift at the back in this matchup. And yeah, as soon as he kicked it, that calf muscle just gave him all sorts of problems. Matavesi's overrated, says Zai. And man, the score could have been 40-0 to Fiji if they didn't drop all those balls and make mistakes. Simply playing like the better team, says Optimus. Even though it started off with not a compliment, that's probably the nicest thing I've ever heard you say about Fiji, Optimus. They might be going in the right direction. Just tuning in room for Fiji. What will happen to the rankings? So you will get the world rankings calculator out while we have got the stoppage of Salisi Reasi making his way off. So that is going to be for Armstrong Ravula. But currently the way that it sits, England would jump up to 5th. Argentina would drop, oh no, sorry, that's already happened. Fiji would jump up to 8th. Australia would go down to 9th with this current score. The way that it sits, if Australia can pull it back and win, they will stay in 8th and create a bit more separation between themselves and Fiji, which could be quite substantial because Australia only have this game in July that they can earn points from on the world rankings calculator. But now, stolen against the throw, Billy Pollard not getting that one right, and Fiji have got the ball back with 9 minutes still remaining on the clock. The 4-point lead, is it going to be a heartbreak in the closing moments for the Fijians, or is it going to be the Australians who are distraught after a first loss of their 2025 campaign? Kick downfield from Basilala into the 22. Marker scored by Max Jorgensen. Whose ball is it? It's currently Max Jorgensen's. Now you better score here, Viti, says Optimus. And also we have got there no way they've been in the Lions. Things lining up for another Australia-Fiji-Wales World Cup pool, says Debater. Now kicked into touch by Jorgensen down towards the halfway line. 8.5 minutes left. Fiji, they have got themselves the 4 points extra. Didn't have that disallowed try not too long ago. Let's go, Viti, almost there, says Adrian. And come on, Australia, says Dalmain. And Fiji need to bloody hold the ball, says Zai there too. Now Sam Matavesi throwing it on. Oh, stolen by Australia this time. Oh, Fiji though, take it straight back on the ground. Like there was a little bit of hesitancy to jump onto that ball for the Wallabies, and it has cost them the possession. 40 metres out, Fiji. Now got the ball again. Big shot coming in from Tom Hooper. Basilala goes across there to Caleb Muntz. Joshua Tuisova with the straightening run, pick and go from Armstrong Ravula. He's not the biggest man out there, and he's almost lost the position for the Fijians. My family is watching the game on the TV now, says the What's Up Guys podcast, now off to the short side. Soreli Mangwala. Seems like at the moment Australia, they've lost their ability to get turnovers in the second half. They need someone like a Carlo Tazano, who is lurking right next to the breakdown here. So he will be searching for that potential opportunity. We haven't seen a turnover from Harry Wilson, I don't believe, in the breakdown as of yet either. Basilala across to Sam Matavesi once more. And also, we have got New Zealanders behind you, Fiji. Let's go, boys. Now, back across to the right-hand side, looping around Jita Wanyanyolo, trying to bump off Nick White, who makes the low tackle. Harry Wilson wanted to steal, but couldn't quite reach over the top of the breakdown. Jita Wanyanyolo now dealing with cramp of his own. He has stayed down. So it means that Fiji for now are playing with 14. This is where Australia would need a counter-attack. Sam Matavesi bouncing back up to his feet. Has another go. 25 metres out from the line now for the Fijians. One more penalty and they could be ahead by the sevens. But Caleb Muntz, big shot on him by Joseph Suali'i. That man has disappeared in the second 40 of this game. So Ana Silasila, Fraser McWright still hunting for those steals as well. Big shot coming in from Harry Wilson. But Fiji, 16 phases in a row. What a difference the half makes close to the steal, but can't quite once again for the Australians. Thought about the backline, Tuisui. And the penalty goes the way of Australia. Soana Silasila over his feet and not supporting body weight. Goes against them for an illegal clean-out. Probably seen 20 of those throughout this game. Ben Donaldson now will kick this one downfield and into touch, getting about his maximum of the meters as he could have there. Hold the bloody ball, says Sai. No, wait, now it's 18 points to 14 since the What's Up Guys podcast. It certainly is 4 points in favour of Fiji, although Australia now are going to have the last minute chance to be able to score here. Still 5 minutes. That's plenty of time. What's Wildcard thinking right now? I'm sure his brain is going at 1,000 miles an hour. He'll be nervous. Tuisova once again dealing with cramp in the calf. Okay, and I think they've just said there they have to keep on playing. So Tuisova is going to be told to get up. And I think Jetawine and Yolo is going to be told to get on with it, get your legs strapped and get back out there by the referee, because they only have, I think it's 30 seconds. And because it's an Australian line out, it means that they do want to keep on going forward. Oh, Aussie still showing no urgency, deer in the headlights under pressure. Very bad signs going forward, says Tony, but this one's going to be thrown and looking straight into the sun for Billy Pollard, but he has found his teammate in Nick Frost. Rolling maul now for Australia. Yep, first game for Basilala, says David, and Wildcard will be really go on a rant. And of course, the Rivers Hard on the Fijian says Zai now rolling maul still is moving, being told to use it once. Nick White searching for it in the breakdown, and now has got it available. Filippo Dongunu bumping off Masaki Donge. Another advantage here going against Fiji for offside. Joseph Suali'i. Nick White. Oh, no, on off the feet. That time coming from, I think it was Zayn Ngor, so they will go back for another penalty to Australia. They will be able to put this one into the corner and perhaps even score that last minute try. Can Fiji win this? It's going to be tough, because this one is definitely going to come down to whether Aussie can score from 15 metres out from the line. Tuisova's first international win as captain, pray Fiji. And also somehow I think Fiji will lose this, says Optimus. Honestly, with 4 minutes left, it sounds bad, but you might not be wrong. I don't know if 4 points is enough at this current point in time to be able to secure this win. I think they're going to need something else, or a big steal or a turnover of some sort, maybe a not straight throw. Harry Wilson claims it at the front, and now the rolling maul of Australia will start again. Now Nick White going to the left-hand side. Filippo Ndungunu. Now off to the right-hand side again. Harry Wilson. Nick White. Going to Tom Hooper. Still 10 metres from the line. Fiji want the steal. They've given away another penalty for in off the feet. Quick tip taken by Filippo Ndungunu, but he wasn't on the mark. And Australia go home. They are home. And we have got there. We win this easy, says Miriana. Australia lose, says Miriana, as a neutral game. Love this, says Novmum. And OMG says Optimus, now kicking into the corner even more so. This one will be 5 metres out from the line for Fiji to have to defend. I got another membership, says Novmum. And there as well. And they've only got a few minutes to make something of Fiji in their discipline, says Zai. Yep, 5 metres out from the line. The rolling maul has made metres for Australia throughout this game. Another close Fiji loss, another new GGs, says Debater. And there too, but thrown in by the Australians. Now Pollard bringing it around. Couple metres still. It's gone down short. Ball is there for Australia. They'll look to the right-hand side. Tom Wright, in fact, this time it's Suali'i. Still 3 metres out from the try line. Australia with 2.5 minutes. If Fiji get a penalty, they win this game. If they do not and Australia score, they will be victorious in a close game at Newcastle Stadium. Nick Frost, 5 phases in for Australia. Sam Matavesi trying to make it awkward. Ball bounces out the back. Pick and go here from Australia. 1 metre from the line. McWright goes up to Harry Wilson, who falls on his back. Did he get the tip of the ball down? Yes, he did. And Australia score in the 78th minute to take the lead back. Harry Wilson, the way he's walking, you'd think he'd been in quite the battle out there. Did he get it down? They believe so. But I assume the TMO will check this. He went for that grounding over the head. Is that going to be enough now? This will use up a majority of the rest of the time on the clock. And yellow card surely, says Sino there. We're going to see it now. Brise, he was close to it. Harry Wilson, was there a hand under that ball? We're going to need another angle. Right, we'll see it here. Did he get it down for Harry Wilson? Trying to put it on the turf. That's held up. That's still up. That is never down. Oh, now it is though. He wrestled and he wiggled like he was a worm, and he got the ball down, or did he? Wait, what's happening? Why are they going back? Ben Donaldson, he got that kick over and now he's run back. What's going on now? Referee talking to Fiji. Okay, Fiji must have just asked the question if it was a try. They found the grounding. I'm not sure why they stopped it in that manner. And please, TMO, please, a water and what to put down. Says a straight to gear. For initially, it looked like he was going to be held up, but Harry Wilson, just like I said, getting that extra little twist to be able to get it down. Who got the ball down? It was Harry Wilson. So 19 points to 18 now. Fiji not kicking at the 10. Australia engaging. And they do take possession. Nick White going back to the left-hand side. Carlo Tizzano. Now, rolling this one back. Nick White, 20 seconds remaining. It's looking like Australia will just go a couple phases in a row, then try and put it into touch. But Albert Tuisui wanted the steal, didn't get it again. 3 points difference, in fact, I should mention, rather than just the two. 21-18. Counter ruck from Fiji once more. 10 seconds left on the clock. Back to the left-hand side. And this should just about do it. 3 seconds remaining. The clock about to strike 80. The horn sounds. Australia kick the ball out. And they will win this game 21 points to 18. Controversial fashion. But the Aussies, they had to dig deep to manage to get themselves the victory there. Fiji, for how they played in the second half, you'd have to say they did deserve to go out and get that victory. If it wasn't for the TMO ruling out their try, which was a try in the laws of the game, perhaps they could have had the victory. But they needed to do more. They needed to stop Australia from scoring that last one too. And never in doubt, says Stephen Wales. And good game both sides, says Mr. All in there. Entertainment, says Tony. And they're as well bad as each other. Much like New Zealand versus France game, says Vastaria. And Australia won't win against the Lions on this effort, says Lamatasia. Not very convincing though, eh? Yeah, it was definitely a rusty game for the Australians in that one. And thanks for the commentary, says Phil. And also we have got their rough Saranga this game, says Dubs. And also ref won it for Australia, says Abo there. And also we have got the Lions are up, or are going to thump Australia, says Highlanders fan. And they're doing. See you later, says the What's Up Guys podcast. And is it done? It is done and dusted. A 3-point win for the Australians. 21 points to 18. And anyone but the Lions, says Callum. But yeah, busy weekend in terms of the results that we have seen. I think that all of the underdogs have actually really stepped up in terms of performance-wise. Not many have been able to pull off that upset. I think Japan and England, the only two underdogs that I can think of, that did manage to get themselves the win. Josiah said good game. And also we have got the great commentating, says Stubbs said I don't think Australia can beat the Lions, says I'm there and thanks Fiji, well played. And Wallabies looking bad for the Lions and not an easy win for the Aussies, felt it, says David. Yeah, I think they certainly did. And they needed this type of test match, one that really showed them, hey, it's not going to be easy. When you go up against the Lions, Fiji got robbed, says Dana. It was an unfortunate disallowed try. Like I was mentioning, in Moana Pacifica's campaign of Super Rugby, they had a similar one, how once there is a turnover of the ball, that is as far back as the TMO can check for anything when it comes to touch, handling errors, foul play. Or foul play can go back further, I should mention, but in terms of anything like a knock-on or any sort of break and play, they aren't actually able to go back further, but it happened. It's the result in this case. Fiji will feel pretty... I'd say that they'll be disappointed because their first half was far from perfect. They only scored that last-minute try from Australia, giving them the ball. And if they had got one more try in that first half, perhaps it could have been enough to get the win. And thanks, Hamish. Pity the better team came second. Says Steve there, and it was the best game of the weekend, really. It's okay, boss, says Stubbs. And last time Fiji won to the Lions, and also the way the Aussie team played, the British and Irish Lions, salivating for the first game. And also, these TMOs are getting out of hand, says to Old Zone. Yeah, it's been a weekend of them, unfortunately. A lot of games have been affected. And when they're this close, like a lot of those other games, because of, when it's the biggest separation, the TMO can have a couple blunders, it's okay. But in these type of games where it's so close, you don't like to see a game determined by it. But at the same time, like I said, there were other times where Fiji should have scored where they weren't able to. They had a backline movement where they dropped the ball as well. So, yes, there was a big moment, but they still had chances. And I think that Fiji will know that. They'll be disappointed that they couldn't finish it off. We have got there. Thank you for this. Struggling to watch from the US. Go the Bok in Australia. Much appreciated. And Australia will be back for more, says Meme US. And their next game will be up against the British and Irish Lions. We will be covering that one on the channel too. So anyone who is new, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Next week, Fiji will be in action up against the Scottish. I believe it is going to be a Saturday fixture. I'll just have a quick look. Where are we? Scotland versus Fiji. Yeah, Saturday, 3 p.m. is when that one will be taking place. Rugby is governed by the TAB. Says Ray, and thanks for the commentary, says Debater. And Fiji cheated, says the guy in there. And also Italy had a great game, and like the tossy shepherding, which led to a no try that were nowhere near the action. Yeah. Like, if this is as strict as it's going to be, I just hope for the sake, like, it's not going to do rugby any good, of course, but I just hope they're consistent. Like, if you are going to be strict with it, you have to be strict with it all the time, rather than just the occasional game. So, hopefully, we see some consistency across next week as well. And if that is how it is, then I guess all the sides in the world will have to just adjust to how they are now refereeing the contest. And Fiji won, or will win, against Scotland, says Meme, and there as well. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. This is our last live stream of the weekend. The next game will be the midweek game for the British and Irish Lions that we are covering on the channel as well. Thanks for the commentary, mate, says David. No worries at all. And yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy for what was probably the most hectic match, I would say, almost, of the whole of the weekend. But yeah, thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all for the next